Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we're going to be playing Alone Against Nyarlathotep, which I have heard is the greatest solo Call of Cthulhu module ever written. And it's not one of the official ones. It is a third-party module made as part of the Miskatonic Repository Community Content Program. I don't really know anything about it beyond its reputation and the fact that it is really big. This thing is this far outsizes the official Alone Against modules. This is 340 pages long and has 1,183 prompts. It is pretty big. We get a cast of 8 characters. I think, well, I've not started reading the prompt yet, so I'm not sure how we choose, because it doesn't say that in the setup stuff. So let's just kind of flip through the intro and then get into it. So yes, written and illustrated by Lee Wade, and it is set in Yorkshire, which is quite a nice part of England. Right, so Yes, it says it'll take several 3 to 4 hour sessions, so we're probably not going to get through this today. This may be a little mini campaign before we start the next Monday thing. Unless we die horribly, that's always a possibility. So what we need, handouts. I've already copied the handouts into the tabletop. That's what these are. So we have our 8 character sheets. We have a little map. I don't know if this is actually a handout or if it's just a illustration. We have a time tracker, as time is very important. So the game lasts about 6 days from like morning of the 3rd of November to evening of the 8th. Yeah, 5.5-ish days. And we have a logbook to keep track of what's going on. I'm not sure how sufficient this will be given how long it is, but we'll see. You can always add more notes if we need to. Right, so we get a bit of rules, just how to play. It is just the standard Call of Cthulhu rules, but there's some suggestions, like remember to do first aid outside of combat, that sort of thing. So we may be referring to this a little bit at the beginning. It tells us to keep track of things. We have to keep track of every entry that we have read, which I now see isn't on this logbook. So let's just start a text box over here. Let's call it log. And we'll just keep track of any extra stuff over here, like what entries we've been to and anything else that happens. And so it says we should keep track of all the entries, and allies that we gain or lose. We have to keep track of timekeeping. So the way this works is we have, if we were playing this physically, we would have printed out this sheet, and we would put a D8 on it, numbered 1, and then every time we go through an entry, we would turn up to the next face. So after we go to entry 2, I guess we would turn this up to 2 and so on, until it reaches the highest face of the die, which is 8 in this case. Then we reset it back to 1 and move it over to the next box. So each box represents 30 minutes. Each face of the die is 4 minutes. And there are some fixed events that happen here as well. I assume something bad happens if we get to the end without resolving whatever the problem is going to be. Let's see, what else about time? Yes, so sometimes entries will tell us to skip ahead a certain amount of time. Those are always going to be multiples of 30 minutes, so we'll just move the thing across. Yeah. Okay, equipment. So we have a shared inventory amongst all of our characters. That's the standard mode. It says the hard mode is everyone tracks individual items pretty much, I think. But anyway, the standard mode is that you can carry an unlimited number of items. They're a pool amongst the party, so everyone has access to all these things. Except for weapons, everyone can have a personal weapon specific to them, and also one large weapon. So I guess that means everyone can carry 2 weapons. I guess we would have these. We've got weapons noted down on the character sheet, so maybe these are the weapons that people can have. We'll get to it. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So, right, so yes, we get some hints and tips. Let's read through these before we start. So we have our pool of investigators. I believe we only start with 1, and we will gain or lose allies. It does suggest you can play multiplayer somewhere. Where is it? Yes, you can play together against Nyarlathotep, where you Each one has their own character. Each person has their own character, but you have to stick together as you move through the module. If you're playing solo, yes, swap out your main character if injured or mentally unstable. Swap out party members if they're looking vulnerable. Okay. Combat is dangerous. Time is important. And luck should be used. So yes, this is using the optional luck rule where we have a luck stat on the character sheet, and you can spend that to improve your rolls. So say you missed a roll by 5 points, you can spend 5 points of luck to meet that roll, but luck will not replenish. Yeah, those hints and tips all look sensible. So let's get into it. And I guess we'll start by noting down that we have seen entry 1. Embiggen this text box. Okay, 27th October 1925. Is that our start dates? No, this is a little before our start date, so this is backstory, I guess. A letter arrived from an affluent York solicitors, Gray and Gray. Gray is spelled differently. Upon opening the letter, you find it informs you of the death of an old acquaintance, Edward Lombard. The news saddens you, as does any tragic news of people you have met in your lifetime. You have been named as a beneficiary in his last will and testament. In the gold-lined envelope is a first-class train ticket to attend the reading of the will at his country estate, Lombard House. It is located on the Yorkshire coastline, several hours' journey from here. His funeral took place last week at the local church. Do we have his house on here? No, we don't. I guess this is maybe just an illustration rather than an actual map. Anyway, you've not seen Edward for over a decade. He was never a close friend, so to be named as a beneficiary is a complete surprise. You've never met any of Edward's family before, nor any of his own friends thinking about it. Although he was a friendly and decent chap, you never really knew much about him other than that he owned an optics factory and was a keen astronomer. The letter stipulates that unless you attend the reading of the will on the evening of 3rd November 1925, okay, that is our starts day, and the reading of the will is at midnight, so that's appropriately ominous. You will not be eligible to receive anything from Edward's estate. That's an inconvenience, yet hopefully worth it, you hope. You arrange to be away from your vocation for a few days, pack a small suitcase, and bid your loved ones farewell, hoping to return shortly enriched by the last will and testament of a forgotten friend. You set off on the first leg of your journey. Create an investigator or select a pre-gen. Okay, let's look through our pre-gens here. So we have 8 of them. We have Lieutenant Hudson Hustle, a veteran. He always wanted to join the military as a youngster coming from a proud military family background. However, once he joined the household cavalry, the Great War broke out. So that's very inconvenient. He soon found himself stationed in the Balkans, where he briefly met Edward Lombard as he arranged his safe passage through his sector. The bloody war took a toll on the young officer, and he suffers with PTSD now and again. Demobilized after doing his duty, he decided to become an equine vet. I see. I read his occupation as equine vet as he was a veteran, a military veteran, because of his title, who was in a horse brigade. That is true, but he's also a horse vet, right? Yes. Okay. Anyway, managing to hide his inner turmoil, he's well-liked and successful in the industry, always striving to do what's best rather than what's easy. He's dependable, selfless, and brave. He's a newly joined member of the Masons. He could use more funds to finally have his own practice in Wales, and the solicitor's invite smells of cash. Okay. Actually, let's just skim through names and occupations and ages, I guess, and then we'll look at the backstory of the ones that seem interesting, as there are 8 of them. So, Lieutenant Hudson Hustle, an equine vet, 29. Dr. Marcus Sykes, a GP, that is a doctor for people from places where GP is not a common acronym, like a family doctor, 61 years old. Miss Emily French, a dilettante, so she must be rich already, 25. Miss Cynthia Balshar, also a dilettante, age 35. Mr. Damon Southcott, merchant, age 39. Miss Keiko Fong, a noble, age 27. Captain Ron Mahoney, a ship's captain, age 63. His residence is at sea. Mr. William Boltwood, an accountant, age 27. Okay, I'm feeling probably one of the younger characters, so that will be Lieutenant Hudson, or um, maybe Miss Emily French, possibly Damon Southcott. I'm not really sure about being a foreign noble, so I don't think I'll go for Keiko Fong. Captain seems more like a dependable ally than a main character. I don't really want to be a guy who wears a top hat. So actually, let's look at some backstories. So what about Top Hat Man? Bill is a friendly and professional young man, meticulous and careful in all aspects of his life. With a natural affinity to numbers, he found himself suited to a career in accounting. Quickly advancing in the firm, he accepted a posting to Egypt, with promise of a full partnership on his return. While there for 3 years, he toiled over ledgers, costing the archaeological digs of Lord Carnarvon, including costing as in managing the costs of the archaeological digs of Lord Carnarvon, including the King Tutankhamun discovery. He was even a little hands-on and learned how to blast rocks with a site visitor, Mr. Edward Lombard. Upon his return to England, he never received the promised partnership that he hoped would bring financial security. However, after getting by, he hopes this invite as a beneficiary can alleviate all his woes and maybe enough to ask his girl's hand in marriage. Yeah, okay, I quite like this guy, actually. On the Tutankhamun expedition, I guess he wears a top hat because that's expected in the profession, but he's not actually doing as well as he hoped. And he has a sweetheart he wants the money to marry. Yeah, let's go with him. So let's note down that Mr. William Boltwood is our main character. Sorry, main investigator. Was it main or was it something else? Yeah, main investigator. Let's make that bold and red. Okay, Mr. William Boltwood, main investigator. Then go to 17. And we increase the time. And note down that we're on 17 rather. So there's going to be a lot of noting down in this, it seems. Yeah, let's put it all in one line. Okay. 3rd November 1925. Maybe I'm not supposed to be marking time yet, actually, because it says now I arrive. Yes, it does mention a time there. Oh, it starts at 5:30 p.m. I misread that as 5:30 a.m. Okay, yes, I'll wait until it's 5:30 p.m. before marking time. Anyway, 3rd November 1925. You arrive at the grand old Victorian York railway station, aiming to make a connection to head to the northeast coast of England. The impressive, high-arched, curved interchange is a bustling hub of branch lines, main lines, and transport terminus. Hundreds of people are on the many platforms and footbridges connecting them all. The atmosphere is full of steam and coal smoke from the perpetual rail traffic. It doesn't agree with your lungs. Glancing at one of the many large clocks suspended from the arches, you read 1:40 p.m. It has been a long journey already. Moving to a timetable on the notice board, you determine that the train you require should be departing from platform 8 in 12 minutes. Reaching the designated platform, you find the train has not arrived yet, so consider buying a snack from one of the many vendors lining the platform wall. Newspapers, bouquets of flowers, hot potatoes, pies, and drinks are available. Your attention is captured by a man behind them, by a map behind them showing your intended route. Roll spot hidden. It says roll spot hidden 25%. That must be the base percentage chance. Yes, it is. I have a 40 in spot hidden. I'm an accountant, so I'm good at spotting numbers that are wrong. But I got a 55, so I missed that. Fail, go to 25. Okay, let's log 25. Lose one item of equipment of your choice. Damned pickpockets! The East Coast train arrives at platform 8. Many people alight the train before you do, along with a handful of others board the carriages. You find your way to the first class compartments and enter one. Okay, we have lost one item of equipment of our choice. Do we even have any equipment to start with? Okay, yes, gear and possessions. I have a Masonic ring, an H.G. Wells novel, a hip flask, and a cricket bat and ball. The cricket bat is my treasured possession. Also, I don't really know how you would pickpocket a cricket bat. That's a pretty large item. Get rid of that. Okay. I think I was probably pickpocketed of my... so a ring you'd be wearing, a cricket bat and ball. That's pretty chunky. It's either going to be the H.G. Wells novel or the hip flask. I think probably the H.G. Wells novel. Someone might have reached into my pocket and felt it, thinking, there's something of interest, and they pulled it out. It was just a book. And they're not exactly going to say, sorry, mate, just pull this book out of your pocket thinking it was something valuable. You can have it back. Okay, go to 146. I wonder what the logic of how to lay out, lay these things out is. I remember in Alone Against the Frost, the lower numbers were, I believe they were like the end game things. So it's like they'd written all the endings first, or at least arranged all the endings at the beginning, and then the later prompts reflects the different paths. I wonder how it's done here. Anyway, in the first class compartment, you find a vacant seat by the window. The train promptly pulls away from York Station with a jolt and begins to accelerate out of the suburbs of the ancient city. Vikings, Romans, and Normans have passed through here. Now you too. I am as great as them. There is a fun fact about York. There is an army barracks in there which says established AD 57, which was when the Romans showed up. I don't think that particular barracks has been continually occupied since AD 57, but it's a fun little Easter egg. Anyway, the inspector opens the sliding door and asks to see everyone's ticket. You notice the other three occupants produce their tickets from gold-lined envelopes, as do you. They must also be beneficiaries heading to Lombard House for the reading of the late Edward's will. After the ticket inspector promptly leaves, you start chatting and introduce yourselves. Choose 3 of the pre-gen investigators to join your party. Okay, I quite like the idea that these are all just random people. So I'm gonna roll 3 more people. I got my D8 here. 8, that's me. I join my own party. 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just note all these people down, and then I'll read their character sheets. So that's 1, 2, 2, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, who have we got? We have Dr. Marcus Sykes, a GP, age 61. He is from Edinburgh. So he must have got the train south into York, and we've all kind of joined the same train heading, I guess, northeast to the coast. Yeah, we got a little train line here. Okay, let's see what's... I've not actually looked at any of my stats. I guess we'll figure it out as we go along. Anyway, Dr. Sykes is an aging GP and approaching retirement. He's a competent GP with good reputation. No one would suspect his darker past in the final year of the Golden Dawn. As in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn? He believes in the occult and is open-minded to parapsychology. Nor do any suspect his own addiction to his medicine cabinets. It's a very doctory problem to have. The doctor is alert and logical. Does he have drugs on him? He has a medical bag. And his medicine cabinet is his most precious possession. Oh, he's also a mason. We've got something to bond over. Anyway, the Doctor is alert and logical, while his paranoia is borderline and makes him less trusting of most. He is an active member of the Masonic Order and achieved the 15th level of the Order. He proudly wears a Masonic ring. Marcus knew Edward from his time in 1914 working for the Royal Navy Intelligence, assisting designing capital ship camouflage patterns. He works with Edward on tests involving his cutting-edge optics and the paint schemes designed to fool the eye. Okay, so we're presumably going to bond over being Freemasons. We have Miss Cynthia Balshaw, a dilettante, age 35. She looks like a old woman in this picture. I shouldn't judge. The author illustrated it. It's pretty impressive to write a thing, let alone illustrate it as well. Anyway, daughter of wealthy bankers, she never really needed to work and didn't engage with academic studies. Instead, she preferred to bunk off and ride horses. Indeed, her life is all about horses and animals, preferring them to the complexity of people. She once met Edward Lombard at a polo match, and they got along well. However, now her brother has inherited running the business, her life has got harder. He controls her finances and forces her to actually help him in the running of the estates. Perhaps this chance to gain from the Lombard's legacy will give her back her independence. She loves a good adventure and is always keen to get stuck into a challenge. She's a proud member of the Women's Masonic Order. Are we all Masons here? She loves the independence and defiance, spearheaded by the suffragettes. Okay. She has a watch, a pocket telescope, and a Masonic ring. And I'm sensing the theme in that we're all Freemasons here. We have Miss Keiko Fong, a Japanese noble from Tokyo, age 27. And the illustration is, what's that style of art? Is that ukiyo-e or something? The illustration is in that style. It's nice. Let's see. She doesn't have a Masonic ring. I was wrong. Okay. Keiko appears to be a wealthy Japanese noblewoman who's touring Europe. She speaks in only broken English. Dressed in traditional Junihito-e, a 12-layered robe, no one suspects she carries a hidden blade, tools, and lockpicks. Really, she is an international jewel thief from a poor background. Her successful career has so far provided a high standard of living, and without suspicion. Other than one time in Budapest when a passing Englishman gave her an alibi. Thinking about it, his name was Edward. She has no problem stealing from the super rich. She is brave and cunning, but pretends to be a coward and weakling. However, funds are looking low, so this invite to inherit is exactly what Miss Fong needs. Maybe she can even claim more than her share. Okay, so she's not a Mason, but she does have a secret. Yeah, let's look at everyone's. Let's look at all the whole character sheet actually. So start with me. So Mr. Boltwood is a smart, professional-looking man, a little overweight. He makes a big impression, especially with his top hats. He's a Christian. He attends church regularly with his betrothed, and he's a new member of the Masonic Lodge. His significant people is his fiancée. William is a little nervous around people he doesn't know. He is indecisive at the best of times, unless playing cricket. And he has a small scar where his younger brother shot him in the leg with an air rifle as a child. Okay. Our Scottish doctor, he looks pale and has bloodshot eyes. He often seems distant and deep in thought, yet he takes everything in. Marcus believes in the paranormal rather than a traditional god worldview. Significant people, his nephew is his prodigy, and he tries his best to further his career. Traits, he is untrusting and paranoid. He's suspicious of everything and everyone. So this is probably a kind of awkward conversation on the train. And for injuries and scars, his hip gets sore from osteoporosis, and he walks with a limp, hence his need for a cane. And his cane is in fact a sword cane, which is cool. Have our dilettante, a very plain and practical woman. She wears no makeup and wears thick glasses when reading. Cynthia is a Christian and comes from a traditional English background of the upper class. She has very rigid beliefs and likes to... the next line is cut off. I don't know, she likes something. Her brother is the only person she feels close to. Loves him deeply despite the friction of running the estate. She is brash, opinionated, and lacking tact. Cynthia just says what she feels. She finds life is easier to just put all your cards on the table from the start. And she has many old injuries from falling off horses. And finally, we have our Japanese con woman. Keiko is a petite lady who is well presented in immaculate silk garb. Her makeup is traditional and intriguing. She appears harmless. Keiko is an atheist and believes in survival of the fittest. She doesn't trust anyone. She has no significant people. For traits, she remains quiet and unassuming in the background whenever possible. She pretends to be simple and a weakling. And she has scars on her back from being flogged, a punishment for being caught committing theft in Japan. Okay? So that's our party. And we are on 146. Yes, so... yes, we get chatting, we introduce ourselves. We probably bond over 3 of us being Freemasons, although I'm not sure how what normal Freemasons think of women Freemasons. I know that it's like a whole separate organization. I'm not sure whether it's considered like part of the same, or is it like a kind of lesser thing? I don't know. Anyway, let's go to 209 and log that we have done so. Some of these have asterisks on. I wonder what that means. The rail journey across the flat Vale of York is smooth and soon passes as you learn that your new acquaintances are headed to Lombard House with identical letters from Grey and Grey solicitors. You all realise that none of you knew Edward very well, and it was before the war since any of you last contacts with him. Indeed, you are all equally surprised to be named a beneficiary in his will. With that in mind, you all feel a little better knowing you are not alone on this journey. The train pulls into Scarborough Station, and most passengers leave while the inspector tells you to stay on board, as a new tender will take you up the coastal line. As one locomotive is uncoupled and the smaller engine shunts into position, you watch. Through an archway, a platoon practicing military marching in preparation for Remembrance Day on the 11th of... Oh. That should be you watch, comma. Not you watch. Through an archway. Right. As one locomotive is uncoupled and the smaller engine shunts into position, you watch through an archway. You watch a platoon practicing military marching in preparation for Remembrance Day on the 11th of November through an archway. You think of the brave men you once knew that were claimed in the Great War, in commas, and how it was all a bloody waste. The other occupants of the compartment get onto the sorry subject of the war, prompted by the passing parade. Snapping out of the sad memories the scene has conjured, you notice the train departs through a long tunnel on a branch line. Once again, out in the daylight, you watch the housing of Scarborough give way to rolling hills and fields. Within minutes, the train pulls into Cloughton Station. It's probably Cloughton and not Cloughton. It could be Cloughton. Cloughton Station, a small platform, signal box and waiting room. No one gets off the train, but the inspector tells you that there is only a single line ahead, so we have to wait for the oncoming train before we can proceed. He suggests it will be about 10 minutes. Anyone can stretch their legs if they wish. So, we have a choice. The first choice of the game. This is monumental. Do you keep your seats near your do you keep your seat near your suitcase? Go to 90. Or decide to stretch your legs on the platform, go to 51. So the way this is written makes me think something bad's going to happen to my suitcase if I leave it alone. But, we've introduced ourselves to these people here. We've started to chat. They seem okay sorts. I think going to stretch my legs. You open the carriage door and step out onto the platform. It feels good to get sunlight on your face, although you can feel the chill wind. It carries a strong scent of the North Sea. You guess it cannot be far from the station, maybe a mile to one of the most wrecked coasts. Okay, wrecked. The last leaves are blowing from the trees. Several piles of them litter the station. A black car arrives. 4 policemen get out and quickly approach the train. 2 constables stay near the station exits while more senior sergeants board and ask everyone to return to their seats. And then I go to 90, which is the prompt I would have looked at before. So all that happens is I'm outside when the policemen arrive. But then I'm back here. Okay. 90. A smart police sergeant enters your compartment and asks everyone to present their ID for inspection. While checking them and writing down details in his notebook, he apologises for the intrusion. He explains a body has been found on the York to Scarborough line. It must have come off this train, according to witnesses. He further explains that no papers or wallet were found on the gentleman in question, and no doors were found to be open at the station. Therefore, foul play is suspected, with a motive of theft. He further explains that it is most likely that the perpetrator alighted the train at Scarborough Station, where we stopped at before getting here, and goes on to suggest no one in first class is under suspicion. Quite right. However, he has to take all details and pursue all avenues of investigation. He apologises once more before leaving the compartment. You all look at each other with surprise, but no one in this compartment has left it since departing York Station, except me just now to get on the platform. So none of you are a murderer. In a way, you feel excited that your rather humdrum life has taken a twist for a few days and become an adventure of mystery. You watch as the police return to their car before the oncoming steam train whistles by and the points change. The signal lifts and you hear the guard's whistle as the small tank engine pulls you slowly out of the station, heading north. Go to 158. Only 4 minutes later, the train begins to slow. The guard announces, "Next stop, Hayburn Wyke." All of your party gather their luggage. Once the train stops, you all alight, minding the gap onto a... That's funny. Train announcements are always, mind the gap between the train and a platform edge. You all alight, minding the gap onto a tiny rural platform. The guard shuts your carriage door and blows his whistle with a wave of his green flag. The locomotive spews out clouds of steam. The train departs, leaving you standing in the fresh autumn air. The platform is unmanned. Only a tiny waiting room building and notice board. No staff are evident on the platform, but there is a clock and a timetable next to the shelter, detailing all of this year's trains, arrivals and departures. A train arrives here on the hour, every hour, heading south. At 1/2 the hour, a train heads north. It is now 3:34 p.m. So we're getting... Now, we're still 2 hours before the start time. I assume 5:30 is when we get to the place. The winter sun is getting lower already. You realise the further north you are, the shorter the daylight. That's what I went to school for, to learn that. A crossing at the edge of the platform allows passage to the pub you can see to the east, or up the steep hill into the woods. A passing friendly farmer on a hay cart bids the party a good afternoon. Upon mentioning Lombard House, he says it's not far, just up the hill there and turn right. Maybe 1/2 mile. I'm going that way. To Stantondale's. I can give you a lift if you wish. Accept the lift. 1/2 mile. That's a very short walk, and she's been on a train for most of the day, so I think we'd rather walk. I mean, I'd rather walk. I don't know what the rest of the party is doing. Okay, 215. You make your way up from the railway station into the ancient trees. The road is very steep, with a hairpin bend halfway. Another 100 yards and you reach a plateau of farmland. The heat you generated from the climb soon dissipates. The 4 of you fasten your coat buttons as the cold sea air begins to creep into your clothes. The road soon reaches the junction, signposted left to Cloughton or right to Ravenscar. You recall being told Lombard House is on the Ravenscar road, so head north. The lane slowly climbs and meets a high boundary wall to your left that encloses a dense ancient woodland of oak and ash trees. After a short distance, the road crests the summit, and a red dusk view of the coast where the North Sea comes into sight. Shipping can be seen up and down the coast, with red or green lights indicating which way the vessels are heading. There's a gated entrance through the high stone wall, although the gates are wide open, leading to a tree-lined driveway. Go to 300. Passing through the large iron gates into the Lombard estate, the house comes into view. Walking up the drive, you get a good look at the manor's frontage. The construction is typical of the Tudor Revival style, with whitewashed walls and black timber beams. It has 2 floors and wings, with a central copper-clad turret, green from verdigris. Numerous leaded windows indicate there are many rooms. It is an impressive, well-maintained building. The garden looks managed, with lawns cut recently. A garage to the right of Lombard House, with a small cottage visible behind. The manor is ringed by a mature deciduous woodland set back from the grass. Dense black smoke drifts up from the chimneys into the winter night sky. Now that the sun has almost set, it has started to drop in temperature, making you feel underdressed. I can't be underdressed, I've got a top hat. You approach the fountain, ringed by the driveway. It is a granite statue of Eros holding a bronze sphere outstretched towards the house. I'm not sure what that might be symbolizing. Water trickles from the top of the ball into a small pond surrounding him. Above the entranceway is carved an old coat of arms, representing an anchor and a rope, obviously nautical. It is carved into the stonework of the vestibule and looks weather-worn. The front door is made of heavy timber, with iron bands and a large brass handle. A recessed knob is a pull doorbell. Roll spot hidden, and I have a 40 spot hidden. Let's see if I can succeed this time. Last time I got pickpocketed and I lost my beloved H.G. Wells novel. 42. I do not notice the thing. Go to 71. You pull the bell, but no one seems to come, so you knock on the heavily reinforced oak door. There is a pause, but before you can try a second time, you hear a bolt slide back. The door opens with a creak. A stern, aging lady with dark clothing and a ring of keys on her belt eyes you up. May I help you? You explain that you have been invited to the estate as a benefactor. She nods. The Irish-sounding housekeeper, okay, she's Irish. I can't do an Irish accent, or any accents really. I'll just stick with whatever I just did. Invites you to wait in the hall while she informs the solicitor of your arrival. Stepping into the hall, you notice that the house is grand and has all the original fittings. The hall has 2 large staircases that head up to one combined landing. The room is lined with dark hardwood panels, perhaps mahogany. No electric lighting appears to have been installed. The place is dimly lit by gas lamps and some candles. You presume the half light is out of respect for Edward's passing. Paintings line both staircases. A large grandfather clock ticks loudly by the door before chiming 5 p.m. The paintings are all portraits in varying styles. They include a picture instantly recognizable as your friend, the late Edward Lombard. Roll appraisal. Am I good at appraising? No, I just have the base in appraise, so 5%. Nope. Fail, go to 11. And we're not at 5:30 yet, so we're not needing to track time yet. The door to your left opens again before the housekeeper shows you into the study, where a smartly suited aging gentleman stands up from behind a cluttered desk and greets you with a warm smile and firm handshake. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mr. Gray, acting solicitor for the late Edward Lombard. I sent you all letters according to Edward's instructions. If I may collect your invitations, please. He collects your letters. Thank you all for attending on such short notice. Edward's last will and testament will be read tonight at midnight, per his instructions. Personally, I think this is all very theatrical and over the top. However, I am being well paid to ensure everything is done to the letter. Refreshingly honest. He slides a vase of flowers across so it is equidistant from the side and front faces of the hardwood-topped desk. Edward has specifically stated you must wear one of these orchids. At this, he pulls the ornate flowers from the glassware and pins one on each benefactory's lapel. Gain orchid. Okay. Let's just put that in the inventory. Orchid. Roll natural world 10% or botany 1%. Do I have either of those? Probably not. Yes, I do not have botany. I have 35 natural world. It might be poisoned, but at the moment I think this is just a weird friend who has invited me to his overly dramatic will reading, so I have no reason to doubt this. Remember, the natural world will. No, I did not succeed on that. I don't realize it is a poisonous orchid. Or whatever it is. The solicitor, Mr. Gray, continues. Mrs. O'Brien will take your overnight bags to your rooms. If you need anything, just ask. So, do you have any questions? Okay, roll 2d6 for each of your party to determine which number bedroom they're allocated and note these down. Okay. Okay, so we have 7 and 6 for the first two. And 11 and 10. I'm next door to the thief. She takes your luggage upstairs. Okay. So this, it says, is luggage, but I believe this is the... if two have the same room, it says, if you roll a number twice, give the next highest available room to the character. So I guess just go up by one. Okay, she takes your luggage upstairs. You may retain as many items as you can carry. Which it says, see page 7. I believe that was unlimited. Yes, standard mode. Carry unlimited items as a pool amongst the party except weapons. Each investigator may have a personal weapon specific to them and also carry one large weapon. Investigators can only... Oh, I see. It says also carry one large weapon. It should say carry one large item. Investigators are limited in how much equipment they can carry. Each can only carry one large item, such as a rifle, shotgun, submachine gun, ammunition. Okay, so... let's just make sure no one's carrying like multiple large items. I'm probably not actively carrying my cricket bat around with me, so let's see. It'd be nice to have someone to note down the communal. Okay, let's just see what everyone has first. They can carry. That's. She only has one thing. I think everyone is fine, actually, in terms of carrying stuff around. Yeah, it says easy mode allows unlimited carry capacity, and we don't have an abundance of large items, so I guess this is not actually inventory. This is stuff in the room. So I suppose I have an orchid over here in my possessions. Okay. Yes, each morning we can swap things out. Right, sometimes you have to leave items here to free up some space. Yep, makes sense. Actually, I guess we'll leave behind the guns, right? There's no need to carry guns and stuff around the house, so don't need the giant text. So I'm gonna leave my shotgun and my cricket bat. Keiko will leave her. So her wakizashi is concealed within her robes, and her revolver is... I know, she's an undercover thief pretending to be a noble. I think she probably keeps her stuff with her. This person probably also doesn't bring her shotgun. That's also a 12 gauge. And the doctor. Everyone has a shotgun, it seems. Yeah, I think everyone's going to leave their shotgun behind, but he will keep his sword cane with him, and it looks just like a walking stick. So we have three 12 gauge shotguns in our rooms and a cricket bat. All right. Let's see. He continues. Some of the beneficiaries have already arrived, and more are still to come. Mrs. O'Brien, in parentheses the housekeeper, just in case you've forgotten, will serve an evening meal at 7:30 p.m. in the dining room. She'll signal us by striking a gong. Please assemble in the dining room promptly. Okay, go to 277. He opens another door and shows you all into the sitting room. An attractive lady in her 20s is sitting reading cosmopolitan magazines on one of 3 luxurious sofas. The decor is very contemporary in contrast to the hardwood panelled rooms you've already seen. She raises an eyebrow in a half-hearted attempt to acknowledge and ignore you, turning to display that she is more interested in the article. Her clothing and hair are the latest trends, with long manicured nails and bright makeup. Mr. Gray introduces you all to Miss Eleanor Harris, who you notice is wearing an orchid, so she's here for the will as well. She smiles and says, "Delighted to meet you." Putting down her magazine, you all get chatting, and in exchange, she volunteers that Edward had been her guardian. Ever since her parents both died in a car crash a decade ago. He paid for her tuition, graduating through the Royal College of Music Arts. Now she is the resident harpist at the London Philharmonic Orchestra. He was a wonderful mentor, but visited rarely. However, he never made her feel indebted for his donorship, and is ever thankful for his support. She seems upset at his passing. Roll psychology. So, I realized I did the spot hidden wrong earlier, because it says if there's a non-combat roll, pick the best party member to do it. So I should be looking at everyone's character sheets, actually. So let's see who's got the best psychology. I just have the base. Keiko has 50. Cynthia has the base, and Dr. Sykes has 40. Okay, so it looks like 50 psychology is our best. And that's 69, so no, we do not succeed. So go to 55. Oops. Now that there are more than 3 beneficiaries, Edward left instruction to reveal this. The solicitor reveals a golden envelope from his inside pocket and tells you Edward has left an amazing gold Faberg egg in plain sight, somewhere on the estate. Edward wished that if someone could find the egg before presenting it to me, his acting solicitor, they would receive this golden envelope and the valuable egg. Mr. Lombard therefore encourages all beneficiaries to explore the house and grounds. Everyone seems quite intrigued by this unexpected treasure hunt, some even a little excited. After all, a genuine Faberge egg... Yeah, it's Faberge, not Faberg. A genuine Faberge egg is priceless. We have a really weird friend here, it seems. Mr. Gray suggests this is beyond eccentric and a shame. Edward seems to have made this into a game of poor taste. He hands everyone a floor plan map. Let's note down that we have that. Let's actually just have inventory down here. It's not so easy to read on there. It's shared inventory, actually. Let's put it over here in my notes. He hands everyone a floor plan map to assist in your search of Lombard House. Remember, dinner will be served at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Gray bids you all good luck and then returns to the study. Okay, So, from this point in the investigation, you need to monitor time. So, the current time is 5:30 p.m. on day 1. Each square on this timesheet, so we have our game lasts from 5:30 p.m. on the 3rd of November to 4 p.m. on the, 4:30 p.m. on the 8th of November. So each box represents half an hour. Were we playing this physically, we'd be using a D8 to track time. So it starts on 1, it moves up to 2 to represent 4 minutes passing, and then 3 for another 4 minutes, and so on. When it reaches the 8, it wraps around back to 1 and moves to the next half-hour block. So that is how we're tracking time. There'll be a lot of noting things down in this game. And yes, if you're playing a fast game, you use a D6 rather than a D8, but the D8 is the default. Yep, that's all that. Then go to 39. You are sat in the sitting room. Miss Harris declines the offer. She resumes reading the Cosmopolitan magazine on the sofa. You begin your search for Edward's Faberge egg by splitting up. The other beneficiaries head off into the house, their separate ways, spurred on by the lure of the priceless artifact. Nothing wrong with a little bit of friendly competition, although it is a shame as you were getting along so well. Or that is what you thought of your ad hoc group of Edward's old friends. He had good taste. Your party is reduced to only you, the main investigator. Lose all other party members. Okay, so they're no longer party members, but we do know which rooms they're staying in. I'm going to assume that they might come back because we've already met them, so let's just cross it out rather than delete it. Okay. Right, so go to the house map or stay in this room. I mean, everyone has split up. I think it makes sense to start by searching this room. So we're going to stay in this room. And after we've looked around here, we will have a look. So we're moving on to the next prompt. So that goes up to 2. In contrast to other parts of the house, the sitting room is contemporary in decor, with a more upbeat orange colour scheme and white walls. There are 3 luxurious sofas to recline on, flanked by low coffee tables that have racks of magazines and newspapers underneath. The well-stocked fireplace is marble and has interesting floral carvings up the columns. An upright piano is against one wall with sheet music on its stand. You glance to find it is Bach, Concerto No. 5 in F. I might recognise it, I've heard it, I don't know off the top of my head. Several photographs hung on the wall show views of the coast. There is an old oil painting of a rigged ship entitled The Blenheim of London on a brass plaque. Miss Harris is relaxing on the sofa near the crackling fire, still reading the Cosmo. She's either unaware of your presence or ignoring you. You can't tell. I search the room, which is going to cost D6 time. 3 time. Okay. Search the room, go to 238. You begin to methodically search the sitting room. Roll spot hidden, which I have a 40% chance at. $15. That is a hard success. Do I add 1 to the time for that? Let's see, timekeeping. Yep, every time you turn to a new entry, add 1 to the time dice. Okay. $202. You look around carefully. Eventually, after moving the painting depicting the sailing ship, you discover writing on its reverse, which says, returning from the BH Tanga, or the Batanga Island Archipelago, 1891. Roll geography. I don't... expects I have any geography. No. Do not have geography. 1% chance. No. One more time. You've never heard of the Batanga Island archipelago. Maybe you should have paid more attention in school. You wonder if it's off the coast of Africa, perhaps? Go to 78. One more time. Right, so back in the sitting room entry. I think I leave the room. So half an hour has passed in that room. We're now back to 1 on 6 p.m. So 231 map of house interior. Okay. Add this page to your direct access list as follows. Coming to this page takes 0 time. So the direct access list is places we can always go to, I believe, regardless of the prompts. Let's just have a look. Yes, the direct access list, or DAL, is a game mechanic that allows you to go directly to a small amount of entry numbers, specific entry numbers. However, you must be inside Lombard House to use the direct access list unless accessing a map. Okay. So let's just copy these. Copy this whole entry. That's our first bit of direct access list. Okay, so we were just in the sitting room. So we could go to. So our options are lounge, sitting room, main hall, entrance hall, library, study, billiards room, dining room, kitchen, landing, master bedroom, bedrooms 2 through 12, observatory, east attic, west attic, front door, back door. Yeah, okay. I have a little floor plan here as well. I'm going to go check out the. If I were hiding a priceless gold egg, where would I hide it? If I were an eccentric millionaire, it seems like hiding a priceless gold egg. Who has a strong interest in optics. Gonna go check out the east attic. Library. Okay, let's go to the library. Is there a yes, there's a library. Library it is. So we spend 4 minutes walking to the library. Okay, walking into the library. What does the asterisk mean on this? It doesn't say in the entries section. Is it like a timekeeping thing? Nope. Okay, I guess this will maybe become apparent later in the game what asterisks mean. Okay. Walking into the library, you're greeted by the familiar smell of dusty books. This warren of bookcases and shelves has turned this room into a series of corridors formed from the written word. There are thousands of books stored here. It is an impressive repository of information. However, there seems to be no order nor signage on the dozens of bookcases. If you have Index, is someone called Index? So we've got William Boltwood, Roy Mahoney, Kiko Fong, Damien Southcott, Cynthia Balshaw, Emily French, Marcus Sykes, and Hudson Hustle. So If you have index as an ally, is that in the list of capitalized game terms? No. Okay, well, I assume I don't because nothing has said I don't have any allies right now. Maybe index is an NPC you can meet. Anyway, I don't have any allies right now. It is just me, so I do not have index as an ally, so I can roll spot hidden. That is 100. That's a fumble. The worst possible results. But thankfully, all I have here is a fail option. There isn't a fumble option. Let's just see. When I was rolling skills, did it tell me to? Oh, I keep forgetting I could spend luck as well. Oh, asterisk. This page costs no time to visit. Ah, okay. I may have done some previous rooms wrong then, so let's just. I've probably done a couple of them wrong. Let's knock this back to 7. Okay. I've already forgotten where I was supposed to go. 6. I went to 31, which also costs no time to visit. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to bother going back through the last prompts to work out exactly what time it is. I'm sure it's roughly right now. Okay, you can look up some information in the many books stored here. The library is difficult to use and is an almost random placement of half sections or small stacks of mixed topics. Therefore, if you make any library use roll, it is hampered by 1 disadvantage die, unless you have index as an ally. Okay. Okay, so I don't think I really want to do any research in the library, but it's good to know that this is an option. 231, which costs no time, so I'm back at the map. Let's go to the East Attic, which does cost time to visit. The East Attic is a cluttered collection of dust sheets under which all manner of shaped objects appear to dwell. Tea chests and crates can be seen, along with tables and chairs. Searching costs 30 minutes, but I think it is worthwhile. So 3, 2, 6. It cost 30 minutes. So it is now 6:26 p.m. Lifting up the dust sheets one at a time, you investigate generations of stored items. There are photo albums of steam trains. Obviously, someone was a keen train spotter. Also, many half-finished oil canvases, some partially painted over other pictures. In one box, you discover a pair of cavalry sabers. You may gain saber if you wish. The gamer in me is saying, yes, you should always pick up and carry around a weapon, but the role player in me is saying, I'm searching, I've been invited to the reading of my friend's will, and he has set up a game involving finding a Faberge egg. So this isn't a Faberge egg, so there's no point picking these up. Also, it's rude to just take someone's cavalry sabers. So I think I will leave the saber, even though I may regret it later. Pulling the dust sheet off, the next item you thought was yet another tall lamp, yet you are shocked to be confronted by a bizarre creature of nightmares, a 3-legged monstrosity with human-like hands, yet only an appendage reminiscent of a tentacle for a head. You quickly step back, expecting the hideous creature to attack. The light glints off its slimy hide and completes the horror. Roll sanity. Okay, and I should have noted down that it is a new day started, so it is how much sanity can you lose in a single day? I can never remember. Sanity. Yes, if you're down 20%. So 64 sanity is my breaking point. My current is 80. Just note down that. Okay, roll sanity. 80% chance. How bad can it be? 11. I am so sane. Coming to your senses, you realize that what is before you is nothing but a sculpture. You get your breath back from the sudden shock of such a twisted creation. The sculptor sure had a bizarre imagination to invent such a fear-inducing statue, a terrifying work of genius. It appears to be made from some hard, veined stone. You're unsure what type of mineral this is. Roll spot hidden. That is a failure. So I'm back to the east attic. Well, I've searched it. Let's try the west attic since it is right by here. The west attic is a dusty place. In fact, one of the only places you've encountered dust on Lombard House. A small window allows some ambient light to come in, highlighting the airborne dust you have kicked up by entering this long forgotten corner of clutter. Many smaller boxes and random items are on display, from mounted antelope heads and other hunting trophies to a perambulator. Dust sheets are strewn around most of the boxes. Okay, roll spot hidden. If I succeed, I'll get a thing. If I fail, I can search the whole place by spending 30 minutes. That's a success. 4, 2, 1. Oh, that's a long entry. Also not free in terms of time. You notice that one area has no dust, therefore has been recently disturbed. Looking closer, you pull back the dust sheet, finding what appears to be an old sea chest. On the front is inscribed the owner's name, Captain Henry Lombard. Opening the box, you find an aging manuscript. It appears to be a logbook, presumably of a nautical voyage. You're eager to read this from this journal in this sea chest, like a time capsule. This ancient book is fragile but in good condition. It reveals the log from a voyage to discover new trade routes. Captained by Henry Lombard, the ship Blenheim of London departed September 1790. What was my friend's name? My friend isn't Henry Lombard, right? Because that's too early. Edward Lombard is my friend. Yes, okay, this is an ancestor. Henry departed in 1790, and in 1791 he landed at the volcanic Batunga Island archipelago in the Pacific. Henry was warmly welcomed by the Paluatan, by Paluatan, the tribe elder and chieftain of the Nyar tribe. The British had a sailor who managed to speak in a basic way with the natives using Gaelic. This random Pacific tribe speaks Gaelic? Okay. The tribe's culture, being run as a gerontocracy, was therefore very wise. They hoped for peace and fair trade. The leader asked Henry if he came as a force of good, and Henry acknowledged this with a genuine handshake. Paluatan believed Henry was the prophecy of the light coming true. He explained all the evil from the island will be removed and cleansed by the white saviour forever. Henry was happy to go along with the friendly diplomacy and saw it all as traditional folklore, removed from reality. As a sign of acceptance, Henry was given a splinter of the only gem they had ever found while tunnelling. A unique gem, so beautiful it must never be in total darkness. The chief's ancestors has kept the gemstone in light for over 250 years. Henry was entrusted with the gem and warned his acceptance and continued support from the tribe would only be secured by never allowing the gem to fall into darkness. Henry, being a man of respect for local tribes' customs, like James Cook, stuck to them, so he ensured the jewel's lamp case they gave him never ran out of oil. As time passes in the journal on the voyage home, Henry mentions that he thought there could be something odd about the tribal warning about the gemstone. He had suffered from bad dreams after looking into the heart of the stone for too long. Terribly vivid dreams. and some entries in the log seemed rather erratic and disjointed for about 3 weeks. However, once he entered the Channel, his writings returned to serious matters only, and thorough navigational maths like the beginning of the voyage. He never mentions the gem again in the log. Discovering the low-lying islands and establishing trade with an indigenous tribe called the Nonyar was a great accomplishment that Henry was proud of. The tribe numbered maybe 400 people and lived primarily on seafood, as their islands were not large and mainly rock. They lived in large caves carved out from rock, from which the ore had already been extracted. They had a plentiful supply of valuable ores like platinum to silver to copper. He exchanged them for food and clothing. From this came a trade treaty that the British wouldn't interfere with the islands and trade peacefully. Upon landing in Southampton in April 1792, Henry was promoted to admiral, as the deal was worth huge amounts of cash to all involved and the British Empire. He details in his log that he planned to charter his own fleet of merchant ships, trade with the Nonyar, and use the fortune to fund the building of a grand family country estate he intends to name Lombard House. The sea chest also contains an old flintlock pistol. It is still loaded with a silver shot. You may gain flintlock if you wish. There is a hand brass compass and some old coins. This cost gives us 3 times. I've already added 1, so it bumps up to 5. I think I would take the flintlock and compass and stuff because it is something to show off, a genuine relic of the founding of Lombard House. So I will gain a flintlock. And 2d6 gold coins. 7 GP. That's worth 7 XP in some systems. Okay, go to 377. I think I will. I'm kind of curious what happens if you search the whole place, because that goes to a different prompt. But anyway, let's go back to the map and pick a new place. Okay, lounge, main hall, entrance hall, study, billiards room, dining room, kitchen, landing, master bedroom, bedrooms 2 through 12, observatory, front door, or back door. Let's try the observatory. So we do still have a little bit of time before the evening meal. I guess the reading of the will is probably when things really kick off. Okay, 63. The staircase to the second floor of Lombard House comes out in the observatory. This tall construction is topped with a brass dome. Many handles operate a chain link system that allows the dome to be opened or rotated and is both labelled and incremented. A series of star charts are pinned to the lower walls. A messy desk has strewn papers covered in algebra and equations. The telescope is vast and must be one of the largest in Britain, behind the monstrous Greenwich Observatory. It is of pristine quality and heavily polished. 2 small doors allow access to the dusty east and west attics. I can open the dome and look through the telescope. I can search through the papers, or I can search the observatory. I'm looking for the egg, so I'm going to search the observatory, which costs D6 time. 6 time. And takes me to entry 198. Yep, evening meal is getting close. You meticulously search the observatory. Eventually, you notice a strange round clay tablet on the desk under some papers. It has markings and arrows that get your attention. Roll history, astronomy, or archaeology. Do I have any of these? I have terrible history knowledge despite participating in an archaeological dig. I have points in archaeology, I guess. Okay, yeah, I have points in archaeology. I guess you don't necessarily learn any history by being on an archaeological dig. Okay, so I have archaeology, 35 archaeology. I don't have any astronomy or history, so the archaeology is my best bet. 22, that is a success. 216. Which costs time. You identify this as a star map. Not just any star map, but an ancient Sumerian relic. A Sumerian relic, that's very fitting given the Dingir hair pin there. It's kind of the character theme. Nice. Right, a Sumerian relic. You've seen similar in the British Museum. Yes, they do have nice Sumerian and Akkadian relics in the British Museum. The markings seem to be calculations, and the arrows show a projection. Perhaps it indicates a predicted alignment, intercept, eclipse, or other stellar event. However, you do not read Sumerian, so the exact meaning is lost on you. Interesting, nonetheless. You wonder if Edward had deciphered the text. Go to 63. So, in 4 minutes' time, we're going to go to the evening meal, so there's not really much point doing anything. So, yeah, let's just... maybe we can search through the papers. Yeah, okay, let's look through his papers. Spend a few minutes doing that. And then we'll have to go to the evening meal. There is a piece of graph paper on top of the pile. Covered in deep maths, it has a pencil diagram of the planets rotating around the sun in the solar system. All the other sheets appear to be base maths involved in this trigonometry. A well-drawn arced line labelled Tenebris moves across the diagram and intersects with the third planet from the sun's orbit, marked with an X. The words 50-50 impact! 8th November 1925. Aha. 8th November 1925 is when the scenario ends. Maybe when the world ends. Are in large red ink over the top of the diagram and formula. Roll astronomy or mathematics. Well, I don't have astronomy. Do I have mathematics? No. I'm an accountant. I suppose I can do money-related maths, but not general maths. Okay. Okay, so I only have a 1% chance of success. Yeah, unsurprisingly, I failed. That's 363. And it's now evening meal time, so there's presumably like a gong ringing, summoning everyone to food. You look over the maths and science behind the trigonometry. This makes you conclude there is an actual and imminent danger of a potential meteor strike hanging the balance. Oh my, this could be the end of the world, likely the end of humanity. You don't know what to make of this horrific revelation of a cataclysm. Roll sanity. 87. Fail. Lose 1 d3 sanity. -1 if you have Orchid. Okay. That is a 3, -1. I lose 2 sanity. I'm shaken by the knowledge that the world may end just in a couple of days' time. And go to 63. 63 is back in the observatory, so kind of read this, put it down with shaking hands, and then I become aware that there has been a gong ringing for the last few minutes, summoning meet the evening meal. So I'm like, surely he was wrong about this. Surely the world isn't about to end. I'm sure if I eat a nice, tasty meal, I'll put all this behind me. Just fatigued from the long journey. Okay, a loud gong is struck somewhere in Lombard House. No matter where anyone is, they can hear it. Then the clock chimes 7:30 p.m. So I arrive at 7:34, rudely late. You return to the dining room of Lombard House and sit at the large table. Everyone you have met at the manor is present. Mr. Gray, the solicitor, heads the table, with Miss Harris at the opposite end. Several other beneficiaries are seated at the table. It seems they have just arrived before dinner, while the investigators were busy exploring the house. All remaining pre-generated investigators are here but are not added to the party. They are friendly enough but act as individuals, either conducting their own search or not bothering. Some choose to relax in the sitting room most of the day. Okay, so we maybe will reunite with our currently crossed out party members, but everyone else is here now. The dining room has a Far Eastern theme and colours of the willow pattern. You notice the silver cutlery and dining ware are of exceptional quality. Mrs. O'Brien keeps bringing out hot platters of food in a very experienced manner. The wall has a large print by Rubens entitled The Downfall of Man on the east wall. Two large Greek busts seem out of place, flanking the masterpiece. They are labelled Xenophanes of Colophon and Zeno of Elea. A painting of a cryptic female face mixed with the landscape hangs above the fireplace. Is that an actual painting? Let's have a look. Let's see, Rubens' Downfall of Man. There is a Fall of Man. This is part of it. Fall of Man by Rubens. That's a very baby-looking snake. Okay. A painting of a cryptic female face mixed with landscape hangs above the fireplace. While enjoying a four-course dinner of excellent produce, you talk amongst yourselves and chat with the other guests. Mr. Gray says that there are still other invited benefactors who have not arrived yet. He wonders if they have decided not to attend. Time will tell, but he says attendance at the midnight reading is imperative. The fire is well stoked, raising spirits along with fine cuisine. Those who have been drinking early really appreciate it before another tipple. After a rice pudding, dessert, and a drink, Mr. Gray suggests that you continue searching for the priceless Faberge egg until the reading of the will, as per Edward's wishes. Following the late Edward's instructions, he asks Mrs. O'Brien to bring in a box of electric torches, which she distributes. He reminds you that there are still 3 hours till midnight when the will shall be read in the Great Hall. Again, he says the gong will be rung at 5 minutes to midnight. Anyone not in attendance at midnight will not be eligible as a beneficiary, so okay, I can't be late to the next one. Then, the doorbell rings. Shortly afterwards, Mrs. O'Brien shows in a middle-aged gentleman. He promptly introduces himself as Kenneth Richardson and apologises for being late, explaining his train was delayed. Some problem on the Scarborough line, apparently. Yes, there was a dead body on there earlier. He produces his letter of invitation, as requested by Mr. Gray, who pins an orchid to his lapel, further explaining the midnight reading and hunt for the Faberge egg. Mr. Richardson looks excited at the prospect. He has a working-class Yorkshire accent and says he is an engineer who worked for Edward before the Great War. You may select one of the earlier party members to rejoin you for the rest of the investigation. Your party should now have 2 investigators, leaving the other 6 pre-gens outside of the party. Okay. And Mr. Richardson is not one of the pre-gens, which makes sense because otherwise we could have added him to our party. Okay, who do we like the most? We have a paranoid Scottish doctor, a dilettante who is apparently 35 but looks kind of like the late Queen, or a apparently a Japanese noblewoman, but we know from her secret backstory that she's actually a thief who is merely pretending to be who she says she is. See, who would be useful to have? 70% spot hidden is pretty good. Cynthia Balshaw. She's very good at riding horses. That doesn't seem too relevant. I don't have, like, mathematics. Hmm. I think I'm gonna reunite with Cynthia Balshaw. Her 70% spot hidden is calling to me. Maybe we can bond over being Freemasons. I can ask, like, polite sounding but inappropriate questions about like female Freemasons. Like, oh, they let anyone in these days. So I'm surprised they let women in, or something like that. Okay, so no one else is in the party. Me and Cynthia. Right. Okay. Advance time to 9 p.m. So it is a long meal. Well, it's an hour and a half. That's not super long. And go to 231. All right. Let's just work our way down from the top. So we'll go to the lounge, which you've not been to yet. Lounge. This large and airy lounge has a tall window, which is not in keeping with the rest of the manor. The huge drapes and textiles are all pastel olive. There is a refreshing lack of dark hardwood. Sofas and recliners allow many people to be seated comfortably in this square chamber. Shelving up one corner has a mixture of books, mainly fiction. Beside the window is a large ornate stone column that doesn't quite reach the ceiling. Entwined around the freestanding pillar is a life-size granite statue of a woman with a feline head. Presumably this one in the bottom right corner, of the PDF. The entire theme of this high sculpture seems to be Egyptian in nature, judging by the generic Ankh hieroglyphs on the pillar. You cannot begin to imagine the cost and difficulty that would have been involved in transporting this megalith to Lombard House. That is, if it is original and not a fake, of course. 4 paintings hang in a line on the west wall. One pastel is a strange scene of a ship, viewed from a cave with a waterfall. Yep, the one up above the catgirl. Another painting depicts a tower, bottom left. The third dark painting is of a stone circle and murky clouds, middle right. And the fourth appears to be of an ancient stone cross under the moon, top right. Study statue. I can do that. So I can study the statue, search the room, or rest on the sofa. I don't really know why I would choose to just rest on the sofa when there's a priceless gold egg somewhere to be found. But I do want to study the statue, and I have decent archaeology. I have 35 archaeology. That's not bad. Which costs 1 time, so let's do that. $77. Nope. So I'll go to 190. You studied the huge... Hang on. No. That was the success, wasn't it? Wait, I just went to page 244. I want prompts 244. Prompts 244. Here we go. Yes, I did not succeed. I did not go to 190. Okay. I don't know what it is. It's a cool statue. Let's search the room. It costs D6 time. 2 time. Go to 64. You methodically search the lounge, looking around the furniture and upholstery. Under the watchful gaze of the statue. Roll spot hidden. So I have 40 spot hidden. Cynthia has 70 spot hidden, so I get to roll for her. 40. A regular success. I'm going to spend 5 luck to make it a hard success, because there's a different result for a hard success. So her luck is now 80. Okay, hard success, go to 119. Which costs some time. You realize the only place you can't see is the top of the sculpted granite pillar. Moving a chair over, you peek over and see something up there amongst a layer of dust. Stretching up, you recover the small object, and once it is in your hand, you realize it is a solid silver cross. Gain crucifix. Okay. I've also got, yes, these things. Let's move them over. Okay, crucifix. Go to 244, so back in here. Feels a little odd to have to mark time just to go back to the entry for the room, but I guess it kind of makes sense if I had to, like, clamber down off a chair and then put the chair back in place. Maybe some time passed doing that. Okay, well, we've searched the room. So I guess let's... So we've already done the sitting room earlier. Let's go to the main hall now. 220. Entering the main hall in Lombard House, you find it is certainly the largest room in the building. It has whitewashed plaster walls and a ceiling panelled in wooden parquet. Or parquet, I don't know. The polished floor is noisy, so your footsteps echo around the hall. There is a large round banquet table. Actually, I'm just going to look up what is wooden thingy. Oh, this sort of pattern. This thing. Yes. There's a large round banquet table and 12 chairs surrounding it. The hall is large enough to allow the room to be used for ballroom dancing. It has a large amount of leaded and stained glass on the exterior south wall. A pair of French doors open up to the rear of the house, though it is dark outside. Mrs. O'Brien enters from the sitting room, that's the maid, who and begins to close the heavy drapes to retain some heat and combat the cold draft you can feel. A large tapestry on the east wall depicts St. George slaying the dragon. The stained glass window details all seem to be serpents rearing up. There is a set of carpet bowls on a sideboard next to a huge stuffed grizzly bear rearing up. Opposite is a full suit of battle-worn plate armor, complete with a two-handed sword. An ebony and ivory chess set is on the cabinet at one end of the main hall, partway through a game. If you have Mrs. O'Brien as an ally, she leaves. Otherwise, if she has not just left, you can talk to her. All I really want to ask her is, hey, can you give me a hint for the priceless gold egg? Which she obviously wouldn't do. So I'm going to search the hall. Search the main hall, costs 1d6 time, and we roll spot hidden. 6 time. Roll spot hidden. 93. So I could spend luck. It'd be 23 luck. That's quite a lot of her remaining luck. And I don't really want to burn through I don't really want to burn through huge chunks of the character's luck on the first day, given this is a multi-day thing. So I think I just fail. Your search reveals nothing you'd not already noticed earlier. Mrs. O'Brien certainly keeps the place spotlessly clean. Even behind the long drapes in the corner, there isn't a single speck of dust. Back to 220. Let's go back to the map. Pick a new place. Gotta keep searching until the reading of the will. No time to talk to housekeepers. Entrance hall is next. The hall has two large wooden staircases. They head up to one combined landing. The room is lined with dark hardwood panels, perhaps mahogany. No electric lighting appears to have been installed, and the place is dimly lit by gas lamps and some candles mounted in wall sconces. 10 portraits in total line the twin staircases. One is recognizable as a dark oil painting of a smiling Edward Lombard, just like you remember him when you last met. That's a horrible illustration. A large grandfather clock ticks loudly by the front door. 5 original internal doors allow access to various other rooms. Let's search the entrance hall. By searching the entrance hall, you find nothing of note except a book of matches and pipe on top of the grandfather clock. You recall Edward was partial to a pipe now and then. The book of matches is half used and from the Western Hotel, London. On the rear in pencil is the word amazing. You wonder about its relevance. Plus 1d3 time and gain matches. Okay, 2 time and matches. Back here. I feel I want to look at the portrait of my dead friend. That's my d4. Here it is. I'll spend 4 minutes doing that. You study each of the 4 paintings and can see they are of different ages and styles. The oldest portrait at the top of the 2 flights of stairs. You realise they're probably in order of age, with the more recent family members at the bottom of the staircases. Edward is on the ground floor. Is one on the ground floor, while the other is a young woman with red hair. You wonder if she must be Edward's younger sister. Above Edward is a man in a British Army officer's uniform, perhaps his older brother. At the top of the stairs, you see an aging Royal Navy admiral, judging by his uniform. No doubt he's the ancestor of all below. That must be Thingy, who went to the Batanga Island. Okay, let's go back to our map. We've not been to the study yet. Let's try that. I think that the time tracking with like events happening at fixed times is kind of an interesting addition to these solo things, which normally don't really have much sense of time. Okay, 32. The cluttered study is really a busy estate office. The main decor is a tan tone with worn wooden flooring. Shelving and units sag under large box folders brimming with paperwork. An aging teak desk shows many signs of heavy usage. The leathered inlay board is shedding its top layers. The inkwell and pens are messy from spillage, and a small timepiece ticks quietly next to them. The main chair behind the desk is also badly worn. while the two seats in the front of the desk seem to be in far better condition, despite being the same design. Clearly, he doesn't have many people visit him in his office. The fireplace has a dark stone surround and is extremely sooty with a brass fireguard. There is a large wooden globe depicting the old world. You suspect it is really a drinks cabinet. The solicitor, Mr. Gray, is sitting here. Don't mind me. Continue on your hunt for Edward's egg. He's reading the Agatha Christie novel, The Unknown Enemy. He's about halfway through the book. Okay, let's search the study. Plus 1d4 time. 2. And 1 time to move to the next prompt. These search a place prompts are inconsistent in whether they have an asterisk or not, which means some of them cost time and some of them don't. Anyway, you methodically begin to search the study, looking through the drawers, cupboards, and behind the cabinets. You try to examine every aspect of the well-used Lombard estate office. You imagine a clue must be here. Roll spot hidden. 30, that's a hard success. Go to 93. Also costs a point of time. You search around the backs of the furniture, in vases, under the rug, and by the fireplace. Pressing on a part of the mantelpiece, there is a click, and a small doorway unlatches. The I've lost my place. Small doorway unlatches. The left side of the fireplace is revealed as an access door to another area. You feel a draft from inside and slowly open the panel. Looking inside, there appears to be a cavity behind the exterior and interior walls, maybe 30 inches wide. A passage, in fact, that heads left following the wall. Peering along the short passage, you see a steep staircase heading up to the first floor. Using your torch, you look into the windowless tunnel. As you squeeze inside, you see there is a mechanism here to open the secret door into the study. Therefore, you cannot get locks inside. This bolsters you to investigate further, so you ascend the narrow stone staircase. If this is the 3rd of November, and your first visit here, go to 3. Ooh, very low numbered prompt. After only 2 steps, you are surprised to see something on the dark stairs. It appears to be a gun. Yes, a Thompson submachine gun. And next to it, there are 3 20-round magazines, fully loaded. Base SMG skill is 20%. Okay. Also, there is a modern hand-pump torch and a small box that on close inspection contains 6 silver-tipped bullets. I don't like that this is the second place I found silver bullets. In .45. These are for the Thompson, Colt 45 automatics, and Webley service revolvers. Gain Thompson SMG with 60 rounds. If hit roll 1d3 for number of bullets that hit out on a burst of 5. Actually, let's just copy this. Put it over here with other notes and stuff. So we have a Tommy gun with 60 rounds and 6 silver bullets. Also, the flintlock, I believe, had a silver bullet. Let's just search for that. Just check that. Flintlock is loaded with a silver bullet. Are there going to be werewolves in this? Then go to 34. So the solicitor is like in the office doing whatever it is, reading Agatha Christie novel. I find a secret button in the fireplace and open up the wall, go in, and then like 10 minutes later come out with an SMG. Oh no, I'm still in here. While on the stone stairs in the tight secret passage, you notice two spy holes. Placing your eye to the aperture, you find you are looking through the wall into a bedroom, perhaps number 4. Is that one of mine? No. The bedroom is silent. No one can be seen. You move to the second hall and can observe along one of the corridors. No one is visible. You wonder about the purpose of this passage and spy holes. Seems it was part of the original design. Was it a priest hole or a panic room? You cannot decide, and there's a mystery. Do you move downstairs or move upstairs? Just have a look back at 93. So I saw a corridor. So I saw a steep stairway heading up. So it feels like if I go back down, I just come back out in the office. So I think I want to go up. Let's go upstairs to 58. You move up the claustrophobic stone steps deep within the exterior walls of this old manor house while being followed, let's not forget, by a 35-year-old dilettante who is mad that she has to do work at home and is hoping to become independently wealthy from this excursion. Anyway, you equate the situation to some Saturday morning pulp cereal at the picture house. For once, you were the hero. Then you remember that the heroes in these movies always face anguish and near-death incidents they have to overcome. Hopefully, you will not have to experience such a test, is all you can think. Once at the top of the stairs, the short passage ends. A latch on your left opens the secret door before you enter, finding yourself in bedroom 6. Okay. I've made my way to bedroom 6. Which was 52, right? Yeah, 52. You find the bedroom is a standard style with a small wardrobe, bed, and dresser. The room is separated from the corridor by a curtain instead of an eastern wall. A single bed is comfortable, while the carpet is deep pile. A vase is the only decoration, with dried roses shedding the odd petal. Let's search the bedroom. Let's probably work through the bedrooms while we're up here, since they're all along a corridor, I assume. Search the bedroom plus 1d3 time. 2 time, and then go to 98. You methodically search the bedroom looking for the slightest clue, so this costs... hang on. So this costs 1d4 time, but we were just on 52, which searching it also cost... that feels like a mistake. I'm not going to add time a second time. Roll spot hidden. That's a success. Yeah, the time tracking is an interesting mechanic, but it feels a little wonky in the entries, whereas it's not consistent. And I think there are some mistakes. Anyway, you feel a breeze coming from the north wall. After poking, you find a latch in a hole on the skirting board. A secret door opens, concealed in the wooden paneling. Go to 3. I found the same secret door I just came out of. Otherwise, go to 34, which is... yeah. Okay. So I'm now looking into bedroom 4. Yeah. Okay, I guess let's move. So we kind of went in a little loop. So let's move down to 9. You step carefully down the stone staircase. Seeing a lever, you pull it to discover a secret door unlatched and opened. You find yourself in the study by the fireplace once more. You dust off some old cobwebs lodged on your sleeves during the adventure. The solicitor looks amused by your cliché antics and shakes his head smiling as he continues reading his book, as I step out with a machine gun. Okay, back in the study. Okay, so searching the study didn't really help. Let's go to the map again. Okay, so we did the study. Let's go to the billiards room. Okay. The billiard room is a reasonably sized dark wood panelled room with a modest marble fireplace. There are two full-sized slate bed billiard tables with suspended gas lighting. The carpet and the details are in an opulent red. A rack of balls and cues is near the only door. The leaded window has no drapes and shows a limited view of the fir trees outside. The fireplace is hot and appreciated. There is a brass coal bin, some small logs, and a stand of iron pokers. Mrs. O'Brien does a good job of keeping the fires lit. A full set of the 1921 Encyclopedia Britannica is set into the wall panelling. On the walls are 3 pictures. If this is not your first visit, go to 91. It is my first visit. The most impressive painting is massive. A 12 by 7 foot oil canvas of a dank and misty cave with stalagmites receding to an unseen lit area. It is hung between both billiard tables, down to almost floor level. Roll spot hidden or appraisal. So we've got 70 on spot hidden. Do we have any better appraise? No. So spot hidden it is. 59. Success. Go to 3, 6, 4. You notice that one of the stalagmites is an almost camouflaged signature. Leading in, you read it as J.D. I need to roll to know who John D is. Okay, fine. History, 5%. 5%. Hang on, it says history 10%, but the starting value is... I mean, I'll take 10% as the starting value if that's what the book... That's what the game says. Nope. Way off. No idea who John D is. The second picture in the billiard room appears to be a photograph of some weird scene in a forest, perhaps backlit at dusk. However, in the center of the shot there is a peculiar silhouette of a tree, or you think it's a tree. If not, what would have 3 legs and a tentacle-like appendage as a head? It's definitely captivating, and it gives you an unexplained sense of unease. Roll Cthulhu Mythos. No one's got any Cthulhu Mythos, so we are going to fail here. To 91. Attracting your eye, the third painting in the billiard room is above the mantel. It seems to draw your attention for no real reason. Watercolour is the medium for this pleasing canvas. It is a multicoloured swirl of more modern art, signed by Edward Lombard himself. It's simple, but pleasant enough to look at. You study it closer, but it has no detail or form, just purely blended colour. A small drink stand is in the corner, with several full decanters and glasses. There are 6 high-backed red leather armchairs around the billiard tables, a box of Cuban cigars with large ashtrays by each chair on a stand. So I can search the room for 1d4 time. Let's do that. 4. It's nearly 11:30. Go to 114. Methodically searching the room, you knock on all the wood panels and look behind all the paintings, under the rug and around the fireplace, even looking under the billiard tables, the cues and the drinks cabinet. However, you fail to find anything significant. It seems Mrs. O'Brien is a great housekeeper as you cannot find any dust, even in the coal bin. Feeling around the armchairs, you cannot find even a penny. Impressive cleanliness. Examining the encyclopedia, You bother to flick through all the volumes and come across a piece of notepaper inside a section on Egyptian religion. A drawing of a stela found near the coast depicts many hieroglyphs and labels them as Old Kingdom. There are various hieroglyphs scribbled on with translations of many words in block capitals such as priestess, offering, ankh, afterlife, cat, rodent, beetle, snake, temple, protect, sacrifice, and eternal. If you have the hieroglyph clue, go to 1139. Otherwise, go to 91. Do not have a hieroglyph clue. Back to 91. Okay. Let's go find another room. We can maybe search one more room before it's time for the reading of the will. Let's go search the dining room. This bright floral room has a large oval dining table and 12 chairs. The window is open to keep the air fresh, countered by the large logs burning in the open fireplace. The room has a Far Eastern theme and colours of the willow pattern. While a strange painting is eye-catching above the fireplace, it is a mountainous landscape, which cleverly also resembles a face. The painting is unsigned. There are also 2 large Greek busts. Yep, it's what we saw before. It is not midnight to 1 a.m., so do not go to 199. We could study the painting, examine it. Let's search the room. 1d6 time. 2. 47. You look around the room. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop adding additional time where it tells me to add a certain amount of time or roll time and then go to another prompt, and the prompt doesn't have an asterisk, because surely the roll included that. Anyway, you look around the room, tap on the floor, add it to the list. Very important. Look around the room, tap on the floor, look under the rug and behind the dresser. You find nothing amongst the crockery and decline to put finger marks on the stamped quality silver cutlery for fear of Mrs. O'Brien's scolding. Searching behind the painting reveals the name Cordukes, 1804, in pencil on the reverse. However, you do not find anything else for all your scrutiny. Back to 27. I don't think we have time to search another room, so I think we'll just... Yes, we can study the painting. Let's look around this room a bit. You study the landscape painting and determine it is maybe antique, judging by the discoloration and cracking of the frame itself. The face is a deliberate centerpiece of the artwork, depicting as a visual illusion. As you look closer at the tower in the background, you are shocked to think the eye blinks. Maybe you are wrong, but it sure seemed odd. Roll sanity. I shouldn't have looked at the picture. 21, fine. If you fail, lose 1d3 sanity. You get a strange feeling about this oil painting, but not a pleasant one. In fact, you start to feel uncomfortable. And back to 27. Okay, I'm just going to go to the reading of the will. Bet this egg doesn't even exist. The gong rings, indicating the reading of Edward's last will and testament is due to begin. As all of you assemble in the great hall just before midnight, Mrs. O'Brien bids you good night. She says she is never in the house between midnight and 6 a.m. That is a condition in her contracts. That is a weird thing to say. Good night, everyone. Contractually, I'm never in the house between midnight and 6 a.m. Have fun. Okay, psychology. I just have the base in psychology, and my lackey also has the base in psychology. Okay. Six. Yes! You determine that, despite trying to hide it, her shortness of breath and wide pupils reveal she's likely afraid. You do not think she's lying, but very nervous. You wonder what she's scared of. Okay, there's something weird that happens here after midnight. You all take one of the 12 wooden chairs around a table. Mr. Grey takes up the grandest chair as head of the table and asks you all to be seated. Once ready, he opens a wax-sealed envelope and produces the last will and testament of the late Edward Lombard. He starts to read it out as the clock chimes midnight. You notice a few tiny flakes of snow as they begin to float down outside the window. I, Edward Henry Lombard, being of sound mind, do hereby decree my last will and testament. To all who have made the effort to attend, I am grateful. Fate has drawn you here to be a benefactor of my heirless estate. The Lombard estate includes this Tudor manor and the private grounds of Lombard House, walled gardens, cottage, garage, summer house, folly, and maze. Also, all 3 adjoining tenant farms, with grazing of 1,619 acres, Lombard Optics Limited, including the Manchester factory, plus a monetary trust to pay for the upkeep of the house, and a handsome annual payout of approximately £8,000 sterling each. Any of the beneficiaries who do not complete the conditions below do not qualify. Their share will be divided by those who do. Le jeu de la mort. What does that list? Something of death. Let's quickly Google translate this. The game of death. Okay. However, to qualify, you must show your worth by residing in the house each evening until midday, 5 days from now. That doesn't seem too bad. You must finish my work and preserve the Lombard estate. No artifacts can be removed or sold. To complete my work is more important than my ego or family name. It is imperative for the free world as we know it. It is that simple to inherit the money and assets. I have been unable to complete my family's tasks due to the dark shadows that linger over this house. I was close and thought I would finish my task. However, it was an intricate trick, a safeguard devised by a far greater mind than my own. Indeed, it was necessary, but it brought a new threat to the estate I had not foreseen. I am forbidden to speak directly regarding the problem or how to overcome it. This is part of the burden upon my family that my ancestors accepted without realizing all of the dire implications. Now, these implications are your burden as potential benefactors. So, why you? Darkness forbade me from being able to make direct contact. I could not perform such actions, and it was impossible. The shadow prevented me. This battle of wills has withered my body. As a man of science, it is crass of me to admit that there are supernatural powers above our understanding. They exist, and some of you have, maybe, found out already. This house has many things that must remain unknown to the outside world, many evils. This house is their prison. I have completed the jail's perimeter wall, a wall that generations of my family have toiled to build. However, I eventually realized that if I was already deceased, the pieces I indirectly left behind could allow you to find a way to succeed, as your hands won't be stayed as mine were by my nemesis. So I picked people of the right caliber to invite, ones I had met throughout my life and evidenced they had the right mettle. I did what I was able to do. I could do no more. I apologize, but I wish you luck. If you think I am just playing a trick on you, draw the curtain and look outside. The planets are aligning. Darkness will come unless you can prevent it. Even if you think it's a twisted game, see it as easy money from a madman. A little light will hold back the thing with 1,000 forms, but total darkness will surely bring the end of all. E. H. Lombard, 25th June, 1925. Mr. Grey takes off his glasses and remarks, "Well, I've never heard anything like it. Complete gobbledygook." There is a murmur from these salted beneficiaries. Overall, they are annoyed at the inconvenience of a further 5-day stay in this old mansion. Outside, there is a break in the clouds that reveals a rough line of bright points in the cosmos, not dissimilar to Orion's belt, but with 5 astral points flickering in the black sky. Not quite in line yet, but close to the stars being right. The beneficiaries move to the lounge for a nightcap. Move time to the next box, 12:30. Set the time dice to 1 and go to 244. Okay. So we're back here. I think After that reading of a bizarre will, it's time to relax on the sofa for 1d6 time. 6 time. You recline on the olive sofa and enjoy the warmth of the log fire. This is certainly the most comfortable room in the house. You guess that Edward probably used to sit here. You look at the paintings hung on the opposite wall and think they have an abstract element to their colours. In fact, they all give the impression it is a nightmare. You relax further, letting your eyes wander. Roll Constitution. Okay. I have 55. My companion has 60. Yep, that's fine. Success, roll Spot Hidden. 20. That is a hard success. I'm going to spend 6 points of luck to make that an extreme success. Go to 16. Time passes. Noticing from your reclined position that there is some detail under the granite Egyptian statue's opening hand. Piquing your interest, you go over and have a closer look. Indeed, there is a small inscribed series of hieroglyphs along the back of the right hand. Ooh, if you fail, you get the hieroglyph clue, which we saw was relevant in the billiards room. But surely succeeding is even better. Roll hieroglyphs. I have a 30 in hieroglyphs. 5. Extreme success. So I'm now tired. I'm yawning as I decipher these hieroglyphs. You decipher the ancient pictograms and find their meaning translates to "make a rodent offering" on the hand of the cat girl. You decide the inscription requires you to place a rodent in the statue's hand. Now you just have to find a rodent. Add to your direct access list, but you need a mouse to activate it. Okay. Nice. Copy that. Oops. Let's copy this in. Rodent, one time, anytime, entry, 1088. Okay, so if I find a mouse, I can do that. Okay, but now it is bedtime. I'm gonna go to entry 120. So the chime strikes 1 a.m. I'm like on the floor reading hieroglyphs on the hand of a statue while everyone's like yawning and saying their good nights and retiring to their bedrooms. Indeed, it has been a long day, so you're starting to feel tired. If you wish to stay up, I don't think I especially want to stay up. I'm just gonna go to bed. Let's go to 144. You're relieved to lock your door and finally get into bed. It has been a long, stressful day. The room is cold, but the blankets soon warm through. You blow out the candle and relax into the down pillow. The room is unfamiliar due to the limited moonlight that makes through the heavy drapes. If one of your party is in bedroom 6... Yes. Go to 1006. The investigator in bedroom 6 becomes the main investigator. Okay. Roll listen. I just have the base 20% in listen. Feels like she's about to be killed in the night. Very fitting the game of death. Oh, that's a 12. That is a success. To 1020. Combat. Combat! You hear a noise, perhaps a latch and footsteps near the bed. Reacting just in time, you're already being strangled by some cord. You grapple with the unidentified assailant. Roll brawl. Oh dear. She has a 55 in brawl. The 32, that's a success. 1070. Using every ounce of your strength, you push the unidentified attacker away. The curtain rail is pulled down onto the bed in the scuffle. After fighting your way out of the drapes, you discover you're all alone. Seems your assailant must have fled. Breathing a sigh of relief, you stack the debris by the wall and lay awake for a while before drifting. Soon, the darkness brings on your descent into slumber. You heal 1 hit point. Okay. You can now all... Yep. Gain 18 Eldritch points. My super party member who's been killed. Okay. Eldritch points. We have 18. Roll power. She has 75 power. That's very powerful. Yep, that is a success. Go to 1, 2, 3. Oh, it was determined if I got a good night's sleep. 4th November, 1925. You wake feeling groggy and tired. However, after a few minutes, you come round and rise, splashing water on your face and neck. The cold water rouses you quickly from your sloth-like demeanour. Dressing. You check in on your small travel mirror that you are presentable. Selecting your equipment you opt to carry for the day ahead. You may swap any items to your luggage. Yeah, that's all fine. Descending the stairs, you nod at the smiling painting of the late Edward before entering the dining room for breakfast. Mrs. O'Brien greets you and serves you a cup of tea. And then, bacon or hot buttered toast with a little fried tomato. It warms you through, and you must say it is a mighty fine bacon while you watch the snow falling out of the window. One of the benefactors you met on the train seems friendly over breakfast and joins your party, saying, "I hope 3 is not a crowd." You may regain one of the original party members. Okay, let's see if this guy is paranoid. It's not going to be him. It's going to be Keiko. And I'm going to swap my main investigator back to thingy. The guy. William Boltwood. Seems it's going to snow heavily for a couple of days. Oh, that's Mr. Gray speaking. Seems it is going to snow heavily for a couple of days, says Mr. Gray, the solicitor, as he studies the weather forecast in the Yorkshire Gazette. After the food, you sit for a few moments, wondering what today will bring. No time like the present to find out. Move the time dice to 9:30 and set it to 1. Okay. Go to 231, the map. Okay, so we last checked the dining room. So let's just continue searching the rooms. Our next fixed event is lunch at 1 p.m. So yeah, let's go to the kitchen and check that out. We're on 231, and the kitchen is 315. The kitchen is of a Victorian standard and has an Aga stove on a tiled ceramic floor. Numerous cupboards have every type of dinner set needed for a large banquet. Preserves, jars, and tins fill a pantry with a stone cooler built under the worktop to hang meat or store fresh vegetables. A hand-cranked pump delivers clean water. Many pans and kettles hang near the stove. Oh, the killer may have left some clue around room 6. Maybe. Room 6 is number 52, which... Is that the one? 52 is the one with the secret door, I believe. So I think the killer probably came in through the secret door. But yeah, we can get to that after searching through other things. The kitchen is Mrs. O'Brien's domain. She doesn't entertain people who make a mess of her well-organized kitchen or cupboards. She tells you there is no golden egg here in the kitchen and to go and look somewhere else before carrying a jug of water into the house. The room smells of freshly baked bread and is spotlessly clean. There is a block of knives for butchering meat and a large meat cleaver hung above it. A heavy barred door leads outside, while a stone staircase descends to a pitch-black cellar. A wooden crucifix is noticeable above the dark stairwell that descends steeply into the basement. The solid-looking black back door has 3 large iron bolts to secure it, and the windows are barred. The door into the rest of the house also appears to be thick with heavy-duty bolts. It is a very secure room. You can choose to gain crucifix if you wish. I've already got a silver crucifix, so it's fine. Let's go downstairs to the cellar, sure. This is not your first visit to the location. It is my first visit. Otherwise, you climb down the steep stone steps towards the cellar. However, after only 3 steps, you feel a heavy shove from behind and begin to fall. Lose 3 Eldritch points. Roll dodge for a random member of the party who is not the main character unless alone. Okay. Let's pick someone. We've got 2 people. It is Cynthia Balshaw. She has to dodge. Her dodge is 35. That is an extreme success. She is so dodgy. So 197. You struggle to keep your feet and averse a nasty fall by bracing both arms on the walls. Looking upstairs, you see no one at the top of the steps or any sound. Yet, you guess someone must have run off into the house already. Who could it have been? 339. Very strange. You stand in a gloomy stone subterranean basement used to store dried goods and some root vegetables. Washing tubs with a mangle and washboards are in one corner. Some emergency logs and coal delivered through a hatch near the library window are piled against one wall. There is a shovel on the pile of coal. A rack of preserves and pickles in mason jars is overloaded. A well-stocked wine rack, a box of whiskey bottles, and 2 small barrels of beer are in a corner. A revolving door is set into the east wall. Search the cellar. I think I'll search the cellar before going through the revolving door. You find a lamp and turn it on, assisting in your search. You spend a fair while looking through the coal bunker but fail to find anything other than coal dust. This has made your hands and clothes a little dirty. Expanding your search to the wines and washing racks, you can only succeed in finding a fine Chateau Le Charzelet, bottled in 1919. Among the clutter, you find a nice penknife which you can choose to take. I think, having been attacked in the night and pushed down the stairs, I will take a penknife. I need to decide who has the penknife, I guess, because weapons belong to people. I think she has a penknife. Penknives use brawl. Okay. It's 1d3 plus 1. Just copy. The same skill. Go 1 plus, oh, there we go. So she has a penknife, and gain 1d6 time. 4 time. And let's go through the revolving door. You access the small stone room through a light-proof revolving door. This room has a small battery bank providing electricity to 2 red bulbs at each end of the room. It's a photographic development and printing room filled with the appropriate paraphernalia, from enlargers to drying cabinets, barrels of acrid-smelling chemicals, and boxes of photosensitive paper. Washing lines with curled-up, dried photographs pegged along them. Searching through them reveals a photo of a tower being struck by lightning. Another is of a dark shadow beyond the front gates at night, judging by the stars above the distant sea. The object is blurred and must have moved around during the long second exposure typically used. Whatever it was, it had a massive shadow size compared to the 6-foot estate wall. Maybe a truck. There is an undeveloped film in the center of the print table. There is a small box camera loaded with fresh film. Okay, you can develop your own film if you have footage. You can choose to gain camera if you wish. Nah. Okay, so I'll start by searching the dark room, but I can also develop the used film, which is going to add just going to cost an hour. But let's search the dark room. You start to rummage through all the drawers and boxes in the dark room. Roll spot hidden with advantage. So that means you roll a second D100 and take the better. So we're trying to hit 70% or less with advantage, so pretty good chance here. Yep. That is a 58. Go to 126. Behind a curtain in the corner of the dark room, you find a large wall safe mounted at floor level. I guess that's why it was advantage. It's a big thing. The quality of stainless steel is high in this installation. The Lombard family safe is a top quality installation, about 3 by 3 feet, fronted with a thick stainless steel door fitted with a high quality locking mechanism and anti-drill design. I can add this to my direct access list. So let's paste that down here. If you attempt to pick lock, I think I don't attempt. Actually, Keiko is a thief. Can she pick locks? What's she got? She has 75% locksmith. That's pretty good. Let's see, 361. That was. Yeah, that's the dark room. Yeah, she can try to pick the lock. Oh, you must have lockpicks. Does she have lockpicks? She has lockpicks. If you do roll locksmithing with a disadvantage, ooh, this is a tough safe. But she has 75 percent chance. So okay, that's a 96. Which is actually a fumble, so I can't spend luck to get out of that. So she loses the lockpicks, they snap. Okay, that's a bad choice. Cross those out. And go back to... Oh, we need an extreme success to do this anyway. Extreme success with disadvantage, okay. Oh well. It's now 10 a.m. Um. Okay, I guess let's just go back to the main room. Um. Yeah, I'm curious about his footage. Let's just develop his. Oh, it's a photography role. Does anyone have photography? If not, I won't try this. Nope. 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 Okay, I'm not going to try developing the film then if I have basically no chance of success. You can come back to that later. Yeah, let's go back to our house. There wasn't anything else in the kitchen, was there? Yeah, we could go outside. I want to search the inside of the house first. Okay, so let's go to the landing. Right, two staircases come up to the landing from the ground floor. A third staircase is between them, ascending to the top floor. The staircases are wide enough for two and well defined in high quality hardwood, perhaps imported teak. The banisters are polished oak wood. The carpeted landing has exits to different areas of the first floor. Opposite the staircase to the second floor is a tall Egyptian burial sarcophagus with feline looking ears. The ancient coffin looks in excellent condition and is obviously well polished. Let's inspect the sarcophagus to start with. It costs 1 time. Which I think means 2 time because this is not asterisk, but that makes sense. Spend a little time studying it and then... Wait, no, then... Yeah, I guess that does make sense. Spend a little time studying it and then we get the result. You study the intricate sarcophagus in detail, examining the materials, craftsmanship, techniques, and symbolism. You deduce this coffin was made for someone in the... Hang on, did I need to roll for that? Jump back to 219. Yes, roll archaeology. Whoops. That's a success, I'm pretty sure. I've got good archaeology. Yeah, that is a success. Okay, right. 204. You study the intricate sarcophagus in detail, made for someone in the court of Ramses I, as his cartouche is displayed amongst the hieroglyphics. You determine the occupant was probably a priestess of Bastet. That's why it has feline features. One symbol is very intriguing, depicting the Great Sphinx with a cat's head. Back to 219. Let's try reading the hieroglyphs. My hieroglyph skill is 30. 30. I'm going to spend 1 point of luck to get that. Just need to reset my like breaking point here. $62, I guess. Okay, success. Go to 36. This is another 2 time overall. You examine the hieroglyphs and do your best to decipher the meanings of the inscriptions. The mummy inside is called Tutangali, the high priestess of Ramses I, messenger of Bastet, the goddess of felines. The inscription says her temple was near the coast. However, she was bitten by a snake and died. Her body was interred under the great sphinx of Bastet. Forever she sleeps until her mistress needs her once again. But eternal. Other hieroglyphs suggest her involvement in later dynasties, which is impossible due to the long periods involved. You presume predictions were carved into the coffin rather than bearing her actual life story. You guess they must have had a narrative of the afterlife, and how figures of importance would carry on being such in other realms. The Egyptians are obviously a fanciful religious people. Obviously. Totally no mummies here. I'm thinking probably when we do this lunch event here, we'll end the session. As it's going on for a bit, and there's still a lot to go, it seems. Okay. Let's go somewhere else. The master bedroom. Let's break into our friend's room. The large master bedroom has a king-size bed and several dressing tables. There is a stale smell in the room, despite the window being cracked open and a breeze blowing the net curtains. There is a full-length mirror on the west wall. The decor is looking tired and long overdue decorating. Under the bed is a shining bedpan. The drawers are still full of Edward's clothes. A strange painting depicting a castle hangs on the north wall. There is a walk-in wardrobe of fair shape and a clean private bathroom as part of an ensuite layout for the master of the house. Okay, choose below, but failed rolls still cost time. I assume they always cost time. Okay, so we have multiple places to search here. Let's work through everything in this room as it all seems worthwhile. So I'm going to search the room. There's a success on the spot hidden. It cost 4 time. To 3, 4, 4. Searching amongst the drawers, you find a boxed medal, identified as the Military Cross 1914. Also in the box are a pair of women's lace gloves and a small diamond-laden ring engraved amber. Once the bed is searched, you find a loaded Webley service revolver under the edge of the mattress. The 6 bullets seem to have silver tips. That's a common theme. Gain Webley and 6 silver bullets. Okay. We'll divvy up all these guns and stuff at some point. So it's kind of obvious that at this point there isn't an egg. The search is to get us involved in whatever his unfinished business was, and to save the world from a meteor smashing into it or whatever's going to happen. Let's examine the painting, if someone has appraise. Our thief has pretty good appraise, unsurprising. Yep, let's examine the painting. Costs 1 time. Nope. Totally missed that. Let's search the walk-in wardrobe, which costs 1d4 time. So 3 time, and we succeed. It's an extreme success, which is good because there's a special option for hard successes. So let's go to 3, 4, 2. You search through the huge walk-in wardrobe. There are hundreds of garments hung on racks. You methodically look through all the clothing and the pockets. In a dark suit jacket inside pocket, you discover something wrapped in a silk handkerchief. Opening the red cloth, you find a large green emerald. You can hardly believe the size or clarity, the largest you have ever seen, perhaps comparable to precious stones on the crown jewels. It must be worth a fortune. Handling the gem makes you feel calm and at ease. You slip the emerald into your pocket for safekeeping. You'd always give it to the solicitor later, of course. Gain emerald. This stone reduces any sanity loss you suffer by 1 if you remember to think about the calming emerald before writing down your new score. If you remember afterwards, you may not erase or amend the sheet. Okay. Interesting. You need to remember it out of game to get a bonus from it. Just put that down here. I'll note it here. We have a calming emerald. Back to 306. Not back, onwards. You look around the racks of fine clothing and notice something behind it. Oh, I see. That was the hard result. Now we get the regular result. You look around the racks of fine clothing and notice something behind it against the wall. Sliding the clothes aside, you reveal a metal cabinet with a large upper door and a smaller reinforced hatch below it. Opening the larger steel door by sliding it with a thud, you expose a rack of firearms. Well, this could explain the stuffed bear you saw downstairs. Edward must have been a keen hunter or marksman. You look across the rack with the first three being side-by-side double-barrel 12-gauge shotguns, maybe even manufactured by Purdy, looking at the engraving of pheasants on the actions and quality lacquered walnut stocks. There is a 12-gauge Browning pump-action shotgun with a capacity of 5 cartridges, also with a 30-06 Lee Enfield bolt-action rifle, as used by the British Armed Forces worldwide. It's a 10-round magazine with stripper clips. This makes sustained firing easy. Last but not least, there is an elephant gun, an overpowered rifle that could stop a charging elephant with one well-placed shot. Good job, as it is only a single barrel and breech loading, only getting one steady shot every second combat round. If loaded and fired in a single round, the firer suffers disadvantage while firing. The elephant gun is a classic Call of Cthulhu RPG weapon. It is so impractical, but it's also good to have a giant gun. The huge elephant gun requires someone with at least strength 50 to wield it. Who amongst us can use the elephant gun? I can't use an elephant gun. She can't use an elephant gun. Miss Cynthia Balshaw, dilettante, can use an elephant gun. Each investigator may gain one long gun of your choice or swap guns. Oh, but the lower ammunition locker is secured with a padlock. And without ammunition, the guns are useless. Okay. So this is something to remember for the future. Nice stash of guns. And there's a bathroom. 1d3 time. 1 time. It's a success. Oh, interesting. We get different things depending on what day it is. The bedroom has its own ensuite bathroom with water closet. You search through the cupboards and pipework, finding it spotlessly clean. Looking through the well-folded towels, it appears nothing is out of the ordinary. A book is on a low shelf, The Mind's Eye by Quatermass, PhD. It looks heavy-going about astral projection, esoteric telepathic theories and such, yet it is all just ideas and rambling of an overactive mind. You look through the medicine cabinet and find it is well stocked, with many compounds, jars, and bottles. The bathroom is clean and almost modern. There is nothing important here. Wait! Your keen eyes spies something squiggled on the mirror as if smudged by a finger. Breathing on it reveals the word as one of the following, depending on dates. Okay, so we're now on the 4th, day 2. So we go to 103. The word on the mirror is moonlight. Go to 327. Okay. Okay, that was the master bedroom. Now let's start searching through the other bedrooms. So we'll start with room 2. What rooms are our people in? Yeah. 7, 6, 11, 10. So room 2 is some other guy. Room 2 was 352. An airy bedchamber with a 4-post bed. The decor is a fading yellow pastel tone. You find numerous small paintings piled up in a wardrobe. They are signed by Jacob Lombard. All depict seascapes with no landmarks, just wild stormy squalls reminiscent of deep seas. Okay? Let's go to bedroom 3. You stand in the dank room with dark green wallpaper. Black mold is apparent under the leaky window, and it smells damp. I pity whoever's staying in this room. What was that one? 12? Yep, 12. Okay. Black mold is apparent under the leaky window, and it smells damp. A view across the lawn to a huge oak tree is visible through the grimy window panes. Light snow is falling. The bed is rock hard and not too comfortable. A painting signed by Jacob Lombard hangs on the south wall. It depicts a black pyramid flanked by 4 pillars on a hilltop. Red hues adorn the sky above the pyramid. On the reverse is chalked the colours at Castle Howard. Certainly a striking sunset. There does not appear to be anything else of interest here. Okay, let's try bedroom 4. This bedroom overlooks the driveway. The room's burgundy decor seems 100 years old, judging by the condition and style. At least the bed and mattress seem reasonably modern and certainly offer comfort. Roll spot hidden. 85. I'm gonna spend 15 points of luck to make that a success. Something in your peripheral vision catches your eye. Movement out of the window on the driveway. Someone wearing white. Someone running away. A woman with red hair, perhaps? Now she's out of sight behind the trees, leaving you just a lightly falling snow and wondering, were you seeing things? Were you mistaken? Was it just a trick of the light and reflection on the window from the lamp? Yes, let's go downstairs and out onto the drive to investigate. You rush downstairs and out of the front door. The snow is silently falling and a little heavier now. You move down the drive but see no trace in the snow of anyone passing, nor of a woman. You get down to the front gate and notice behind the large entrance pillar is a standing stone. You take a closer look and find it is inlaid with carvings. They look ancient and are badly worn by erosion. The most notable are depicting serpents and the moon's phases. I can roll history or archaeology to try to learn something about this. Let's do that. Nope. Okay, so that was bedroom 4. Now let's try bedroom 5. It is a pleasant bedroom with red decor and thick rouge carpets. The large bed has a thick down duvet, ideal for winter. A small cupboard allows storage for the resident's effects, with only a dressing table and chair in the room. Through the window, surrounded by ivy, a limited view shows the Italian gardens and a corner of a hedge maze between the heavy tree canopy. Miles further, to the south, the headland of Flamborough can be made out across the sea, due to the flashing lighthouses, a critical beacon for those in peril on the sea. A large stained lithograph is on the east wall depicting a large bird you identify as a raven flying by a mountain top. Let's search the room. Which takes time. Searching the room, you leave no place unchecked. There is nothing to be found amongst the bedding, only a bedpan under the bed. The cupboard has a couple of candles, yet a search of the dressing table reveals nothing at all. Seems like any typical bedroom in an old mansion. That is, when you notice a box of matches by the corner. Gain matches. Okay, we now have 2 books of matches. Okay, that was bedroom 5. Let's go back to bedroom 6 and see if there's anything different there. Yes. So search the bedroom. I mean, we already kind of know what happens, right? Like we 698 goes to 69. I think we can just like follow through things that we've already done before. We're just going back to things we've previously found. So yeah, we find the breeze coming from the north wall. It is not our first visit here, so let's go to 34. That's when we notice the spy holes. Is anything going to be different here? If we move upstairs, I believe we did that before, and so yeah, we've gone through here before, so we go back to bedroom 6. Yeah. Let's not go upstairs. Let's go downstairs then. See if there's anything different. Go downstairs to 9 and then 32, and then we're back in the study. Yes, that didn't seem to affect anything, but I guess there's stuff we didn't really search in the study before. Let's talk to Mr. Gray. Let's see what he thinks about this whole weird situation. If you wish to present Mr. Gray the Faberge egg, so there actually is an egg. I assumed that was just a lie. Anyway, we don't have the egg. Otherwise, you strike up a conversation with the solicitor, Mr. Bertrand Gray. Call me Bertie. He's a pleasant-minded man and makes you feel instantly at ease talking to him. He explains he never met Edward, as his partner, Mr. Gray, always dealt with the Lombard account. So, he says, he is just as much at a loss as you are regarding the bizarre and unique wishes of the late Mr. Lombard. He says he has attended and carried out some strange will readings, but this one takes the biscuits as the most cryptic. He explains he is due retirement and this will be one of his last duties. Oh no, last job before retirement, he's not going to survive. He is purely here to enact the legal aspects of the last will and testament, stating he cannot participate in the macabre game that Edward has created and is purely an adjudicator. Of course, he'll be interested to see if anyone finds such an egg, but suggests it is possible this is a wild goose chase and no such treasure exists. Much to the late Edward's amusement, no doubt. He seems to remember his professionalism and backtracks that he's probably wrong, so as not to put you off your search. He wishes you luck and returns to his book, Roll Psychology. I believe, yeah, she was good at psychology, so that's 50% chance. That's a success. Go to 1, 2, 4. You study the body language in response to your questions. After the conversation, you deduce the solicitor was very relaxed and truthful, if that is possible for a solicitor. You do not believe that he knows more than he is letting on. In fact, he seems a genuinely agreeable gentleman, the type of solicitor you would wish to hire for ease of correspondence. In short, he has gained your trust. Okay. Let's see what else is going on in this study, and then we'll return to the bedrooms. So we have talked to him, we've already searched the study. Let's examine the globe drinks cabinet. Maybe we can have a little drink to help with the search. You take a closer look at the large wooden globe in the study. It is obviously old, judging by the lack of some more recent discoveries and archaic place names. Turning the globe, you notice there are some holes in it, perhaps woodworm. No, you decide there will be more than 12 holes, all spread out across the globe. You look at their positioning. Madagascar, Alaska, Siberia, Tibet, Namibia, Falklands, Peru, Easter Island, Mongolia, and Egypt. 2 other pins are where you think Australia and Antarctica would be if marked on this outdated relic. So it's a pre-Australia globe. Opening the cabinets, you find a selection of spirits in fine decanters and help yourselves to a glass of your choosing. Why not? After all, it's a free house and a few days away from home. The solicitor is still engrossed in his novel. Okay. Just enjoy a little brandy or something. Let's investigate the paperwork, which takes 30 minutes. So we just move time. Was it 2? It was 3 to. Let's look it up. 337, not 227. Roll accounting. Yes. Yes. This is what I can do. Easy. Go to 309. Going through the estate accounts, you quickly find several pieces of interesting information. The building was commissioned in 1793 and completed in 1795 at the initial quoted cost of £64,300. If only you could build like a large country house these days for £64,000. The work was undertaken by the Scarborough building firm Reddish and Thorpe. However, it ran over budget by a further £6,000, which requires to tackle foundation issues. Henry Lombard bought many extravagant works of art and ancient relics to furnish the house. Between 1795 and 1803, he spent a staggering £113,000 on these purchases. Numerous receipts outline the purchases, but include artifacts from the Sphinx interior, Cambodian religious relics, Sword of Castillo, large amber fresco from Babylon, tomes from the Library of Alexandria, lost pages from the Doomsday Book, Liber Ivonis. It's a very Lovecraftian book. Mummified Egyptian High Priestess Tutangali, Nubian tablets, Pacific scriptures, fireballs of Pompeii, Atlantean armor, bones of dinosaurs. However, many of these purchases are documented as being sold between 1811 and 1820. The money was used to pay off creditors and debts. There's no list of exactly which items were sold. Okay, well, let's make a list of this. Copy this. Just in case. And go to 285. Sifting through the accounts, you find a large bill of £5,455 was paid to the leading locksmith called Von Klempen when the house was built, but the work is unspecified. That's probably the big safe. A series of 10 red ledgers detailed the cash flow involved in Henry Lombard's expeditions. The books are numbered and labelled as follows: Mongolia, Alaska, Easter Island, Madagascar, Australia, Antarctica, Namibia, Egypt, Siberia, Falkland Islands. These expeditions apparently, should have added one to the time. These expeditions apparently have huge costs involved and appear to take around a year each. Interestingly, there are also 2 similar green ledgers labelled as Peru and Himalayas. These have been written in different handwriting to the red books. The other accounts of the estate itself cover all the day-to-day running, from wages and maintenance costs to fuel and food bills. A noticeable bill of £11,000 to purchase and transplant a full-sized oak tree from the Scottish Isle of Arran in 1826 stands out as being extraordinary and ludicrous in cost. A builder charged £6,000 to build a brick folly in 1900. In 1908, £9,000 was spent on the new Patton telescope. In 1917, during the Russian Revolution, there was a bill of receipt for a Faberge egg. So there is an egg, okay, to the tune of £7,500 equivalent in rubles from the Menshevik government of Russia. Okay. So I can find the egg and win the game. Maybe. Let's search the desk. Searching the desk, you find little interest in the drawers. Blank paper, envelopes, and a book of stamps in one, a notebook with pages torn out in the other. Roll spot hidden. 33, that is a success. Looking under the desk, you find a folded £5 note. The solicitor doesn't seem to have noticed. He's engrossed in his book. You think this could be the only time ever that you've successfully taken money off a lawyer. Smiling, you pretend to fasten your shoelace while you put the white note in your pocket and move away. Nice. Okay, I think let's just do lunch. And then we will wrap it up and resume in the future. Probably next week. Okay, 968. That's pretty close to the end. There's 1,183 of these prompts, so it is a very long game. 968. Here we go. You hear a series of beeping from a car horn as someone approaches through the murk of the snow. Getting to be able to see through the hall window, you see a smart man dressed in white with small rounded glasses, complete with his own smart sign-written minivan. In sweeping blue font, it says Micklegate's Confectioners. So they've come from York on the signs and his jacket pockets. Smiling, he explains that he is here to deliver a birthday cake to you. He says he's been handsomely paid and driven all the way from York to be prompt at this location for 1 o'clock. He goes further, saying he was commissioned 6 months ago by Edward Lombard, whose birthday would have been today. Edward said he'll be here to meet me, but if not, then to hand it to whoever is present. So here you are. Please send my regards to Mr. Lombard. He asks you to sign his clipboard as to receiving the cake, while saying, "Believe me, I've had stranger commissions, but this one is far from normal. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. If you ever need a cake, be sure to look up Micklegate Confectioners." He gets in his van and turns around, before he drives away into the swirling snow. The white cardboard box he has given you seems to contain an amazingly artistic 4-tiered iced cake on a board. The colours of icing and symbols used to form the decoration are somewhat unusual. You notice there are snakes, eyes, crosses, stars, hypnotic swirls, and what seem to be an impression of squid tentacles near the base. Between the layers are levels of green scales, reminiscent of a reptile. It is a work of art. Cutting the cake with the included spatula reveals a deep red sponge with a strawberry filling oozing from many thin layers, creating an effect that is almost like the cake is actually bleeding. That is when you notice there is something in the cake itself. In fact, there are several things. While eating some of the delicious sponge cake, you pick out these items and clean them up. The first and largest is very interesting. It is obviously a key and has a very long bronze shaft, yet there is no handle and instead a screw threading. Indeed, there is another screw at the front end of the shaft too. You think 2 other parts screw into the middle section. A very intriguing cake indeed. Each of your party also finds something in their slice amongst the lush sponge. So I get a middle key, and then roll to get unique items for the other investigators. So I only have 2 party members at this point. Yeah. I wonder how many, if there was a way I could have recruited more people. Button, compass, and whistle. You all managed to pretty much polish off the cake and leaves you feeling energized from all the sugar. Seems Edward was full of surprises and puzzles. What on earth do these trinkets have to do with anything? Plus 30 minutes. Go to 982. The items you have found in the cake are button compass plus 10% navigation. So we now have plus 20% navigation from we found another compass before as well. Whistle, nothing special. It is just a whistle. Okay. Oh, each member of the party may only have one of these items except bullets. If an item is lost in the future, then the effects are also lost. Go to the entry you were at before the cake arrived. Or go to 231 if it's Lombard, but the cake was yeah, the cake was 968. Was there another way I could have got to 968 maybe? Maybe. Okay. Anyway, right, I guess I need to decide who has these things then. Is there anyone who's like okay at navigation? Because I could make him even better. She's the best. So let's give her. Let's give her the regular compass, I guess. I'll leave it here, but crossed out so I remember it. I guess I'll give the button compass to me as well. Why not? If I get someone who's better suited, I can transfer over. Button compass. And someone needs to have the whistle. And it can't be me. I guess the whistle can go to Keiko. And I'll just leave the middle key in the general bag of things. Okay, so let's see. Where did we last go? We searched room. Did we search room 7? No, we didn't. Okay, so next is room 7. Right, yes. We went from 6 down to the study, and then we looked around stuff there. So, okay. So that is what we'll pick up with next time, searching from room 7 onwards. Should note down. So we've got rooms 7 to 12, the front door and the back door. Okay. I have no idea if we're doing well or not. It's hard to say. We're very early on in the time still, so the world hasn't ended yet, which is good. So, yeah, interesting. Definitely much more complicated than the official Alone Against modules. I'm very interested to see if I can actually find the Faberge egg, because a part of me. So we've seen 2 references to it in the game text now. We've seen that there is an entry for if we want to give this list to the egg, like reveal that we've got it. And we also found a receipt for a Faberge egg. So there's evidence that there at least was an egg at one point, but it could all be a cunning ruse by the author of the module. There might not actually be an egg here anymore. And I'm not sure whether I think there is an egg or not. But it would be very nice to find the egg if it exists, and also save the world, I suppose. So yeah, we will pick it up next time. As we remain alone against Nyarlathotep. Okay, so next streams this week. Friday is we're back to Legend in the Mist. Off to find a witch to fix a problem, and Saturday will be video games, either Disco Elysium or GA. I'll see what I feel like on the day. Okay, that's. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll pick this game up again next week.